miles from the capital, Tripoli. The New York Times says 4 men stormed his house and disabled his security cameras. Well, according to AOL.com, Star Jones recently said she's not interested in returning to the talk show The View anytime soon. Now, why y'all would ask her that in the first place is beyond me. Get VIN News now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Escape the confines of the city for the expansive beauty of the Santa Ynez Valley with a short 2-hour drive up the coast. Let Chumash Casino Resort be your destination getaway. Welcome to freedom. Go to chumashcasino.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
There could be a weird atmosphere tonight at the Intuit Dome in Inglewood. The Clippers traded James Harden to the Cleveland Cavaliers Tuesday afternoon. The Cavs are in town to play the Clippers tonight. If Harden passes the mandatory physical, he could be in a Cleveland uniform to face his former team. Darius Garland, the player the Clippers got from Cleveland, is not expected to play tonight. He's been out since January 19th with an ankle injury. Kawhi Leonard was added as a reserve for the NBA All-Star Game. Leonard is averaging 27.6 points and leads the league in steals and free throw percentage. The All-Star Game is February 15th at the Intuit Dome. The Lakers finished their 8-game road trip Tuesday night with a 5-3 record. They beat Brooklyn 125-109. LeBron had 25 points, 7 assists, and 3 steals. Austin Reeves, playing his first game since Christmas, had 15 points in 21 minutes off the bench. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
What's up? What's up? What's up?
You got to laugh the pain away.
Hey, KBLA delegation, happy Black History Month. Around here, we celebrate our culture, our community, and our contributions daily. But this year, as we observe the 100th anniversary of Black History Month celebrations, we're excited about our annual KBLA Talk 1580 Black History Month Luncheon, honoring comedy greats. On Thursday, February 26th at the Grammy Museum in downtown LA, we're toasting D.L. Hughley, Melanie Camacho, Earthquake, Munell, Dion Cole, and Martin Lawrence with a surprise guest appearance. A limited number of individual tickets for the luncheon remain, so now would be a good time to head to KBLA1580.com to secure one for yourself. That's KBLA1580.com. A little laughter goes a long way, especially in times like these. So come, join us for our annual KBLA Talk 1580 Black History Month Luncheon, Thursday, February 26th at the Grammy Museum. Again, tickets are available right now at KBLA1580.com.
Well, I hang around my boy. He's been married for 6 years. Videotaping his wedding day, never watched it. Now and every day he watch it every day, but he watch it in reverse. Because he said he loves seeing himself take that ring back off of that finger. Walking back down that aisle, just waving at her ugly mother down the church, getting back in the limo, back at the bachelor party. Look how happy I was.
Honoring excellence, resilience, and achievement, we're at KBLA Talk 1580.
Try to keep it coming. Things ain't always smooth. Oh, but I'll be alright as long as I can find the groove. Yes, I will. Somehow I know that I can make it. You seem to like my style. Don't you worry, I'm gonna be around a while.
Live from historic Leimert Park in Los Angeles, California, I'm Tavis Smiley, and I'm so glad to see you and me back in stride again. Before we get started with today's show, let me invite you to follow me on Facebook and Instagram at The Real Tavis Smiley, and get updates on X, that's formerly Twitter, at Tavis Smiley. By the way, should you miss any part of today's program or want to catch up on previous shows, you can always visit thetavissmileyshow.com. That's thetavissmileyshow.com, or wherever you get your podcast and listen to the Tabby Smiley podcast version of this live program at your leisure. Excuse me, another great show on tap for you today. In our second hour, two conversations. Up first, Trump board czar Tom Homan has just announced a drawdown of 700 ICE agents in Minnesota. News breaking just now. A drawdown they have announced of some 700 ICE agents in Minnesota. That still leaves a couple thousand agents in place. You recall, I think about 3,000 total at one point. So a couple thousand still in place, but Homan says that a complete drawdown will depend on continued cooperation from state and local agencies. We'll pull everybody out depending on continued cooperation from state and local agencies. Who knows what that means? We'll unpack it with our regular contributor, Ruben Navarrette Jr., on the top side of Hour 2. On the B side of Hour 2.
For you, I'd give a lifetime of stability. Anything you want of me. Nothing is impossible for you. There are no words or ways to show my love, or all the thoughts I'm thinking of. 'Cause this life is no good alone. Since we've become one, I made a change, and everything I do now makes sense. All roads end, all I do is for you.
It's Kenny Lattimore. I love Kenny Lattimore. Any excuse to play his music. How many weddings has that song been performed at? Kenny Lattimore comes in studio on the B side of Hour 2 with his wife, his real-life wife, TV judge, Faith Jenkins, for a big announcement they are making today with noted civil rights attorney Ben Crump. So Ben Crump, Kenny Lattimore, Faith Jenkins, a number of other celebrities are here in L.A. today for a major announcement. Ben Crump's involved, so you know somebody's in trouble. We will ask Kenny and Faith to tell us what this big press conference is about today and who Ben Crump is going after and why all these black celebrities are surrounding Ben Crump today here in L.A., in Leimert Park, in fact, when they make this announcement. But Kenny and Faith will give us the lowdown before the press conference even happens if you stick around for the B side of Hour 2. In our third hour, two more conversations. Up first, we'll check in with noted economist, columnist, author, and founder of the nonprofit Economic Education, Dr. Julianne Malveaux, about a number of trending topics. And then on the B side of Hour 3, a conversation with award-winning producer and best-selling author DeVon Franklin about his new autobiographical theatrical event and Audible original called Be True, My Journey from Breakdown to Breakthrough. But we commence today's show in conversation with retired Superior Court Judge LaDoris Cordell, author of the book Her Honor, My Life on the Bench, What Works, What's Broken, and How to Change It. Always honored to get her on the program. Glad I got her for the hour. A whole lot to unpack. Trump is trying to nationalize elections. I had a guest on the other day. Who was it? Leonard Pitts Jr., who made a bet with me that we won't even have elections come November. So we'll talk about that as we get into this hour and some other stuff I want to take her temperature on. But I want to start, Judge Cordell, by saying, first of all, good to hear you back on the program. How are you today?
Thank you so much for having me. I'm good, and happy Black History Month while we still have it.
There you go. While we still have it. 100 years. We are now in the 100th, the centennial celebration of Negro History Week and Black History Month. So it's a great opportunity for us to remind this country, as I often quote Du Bois, would America have been America without her Negro people? The answer is clearly no. You can answer that question honestly without casting aspersion on anybody else, but America simply would not be. This experiment would have fallen flat. We're on the precipice right now, failing as it is, given what Judge Cordell just said. But we this experiment in democracy would have absolutely fallen flat were it not for the grand contributions of black people. And so we celebrate 100 years now, a century of these Black History Week and Black History Month celebrations. So that said, I want to start when we come forward here with Tom Homan's announcement that they're drawing down these 700 ICE agents. Again, a couple thousand still left there. I have not had Judge Cordell on to get her take during this period, this season of maiming and murder, frankly, in Minnesota. I want to get her take her opinion on that for starters, and then we'll jump to a bunch of other stuff in this hour. Honored to have Judge LaDoris Cordell on Tavis Smiley.
Generous listening.
Charitable listening.
It's why everybody wants to talk to Tavis. The conversation continues when we come forward.
Hi, I'm Tavis Smiley. The tools to hold a meaningful conversation should not be reserved just for a privileged few. It is a skill our world desperately needs in every community, at every table. So I'm pleased to announce the Founding Members Scholarship Program for my online course, The Art of Conversation, in 4 different categories. The Community Builder, for those who serve others. The Rising Voice, for emerging communicators. The Bridge Builder, for underrepresented perspectives. And the Determined Scholar, for those facing financial hardship. If finances are the only barrier between you and this training, well, let's hurdle that barrier. We're accepting applications right now at TavisTalks.com. That's TavisTalks.com. The priority deadline is February the 10th. So visit TavisTalks.com right now and let's build this table together.
Wouldn't it be great if life came with a remote control? You know, you could hit pause when you needed to, or hit rewind. Like that time you knocked down that wasp's nest.
Uh-oh.
Or that time you forgot to roll up your windows in the car wash.
Fantastic.
Yeah, a remote control would have come in handy then. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes like managing your weight, getting active, stopping smoking, and eating healthier, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. It's easy to learn your risk. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Life doesn't come with a remote control. Yikes! So you're on your own with the wasps. You have the power to take control of prediabetes. Visit doihaveprediabetes.org today. That's doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
The holidays mean more travel, more shopping, more time online, and more personal info in more places that could expose you more to identity theft. But LifeLock monitors millions of data points per second. If your identity is stolen, our US-based restoration specialists will fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Don't face drained accounts, fraudulent loans, or financial losses alone. Get more holiday fun and less holiday worry with LifeLock. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS. Visit lifelock.com. Terms apply.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Saline from Vicks.
Sinex Saline nasal spray?
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Saline instantly clears everyday congestion associated with colds and year-round allergies with a gentle, ultra-fine mist that's no mess and easy to control.
Daddy, we need more balloons.
On it.
Enjoy life's important moments without congestion. Try Sinex Saline from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
Freedom is an endless meeting. So let's get back to it with Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley, retired Superior Court Judge LaDoris Cordell, author of the book Her Honor, My Life on the Bench, What Works, What's Broken, and How to Change It. Before I let her go for the rest of the hour, here is some sound from the border czar, Tom Homan. You'll recall that Greg Bovino, who was running ICE, was pushed out by Trump a week or two ago. He then sent his border czar, if I can say it, Tom Homan, to Minnesota to take over things. And Homan has, again, just announced, in case you've just tuned in, that they're drawing down 700 ICE agents in Minnesota, a couple thousand left. He, again, has said that the complete drawdown will depend on state and local cooperation. We'll unpack that a bit more as we move through today's show. But here's Tom Homan making his announcement.
Given this increase in unprecedented collaboration, and as a result of the need for less law enforcement officers to do this work in a safer environment, I have announced effective immediately we will draw down 700 people effective today. 700 law enforcement personnel. We have also fully integrated CBP personnel into the ICRO team structure under one unified chain of command. Not two chains of command, there'd be one chain of command here. Any large enforcement operation I've ever been involved with, there's one chain of command, and that's where we're moving forward. During my press conference last week, I announced that moving forward, ICE will be conducting targeted immigration enforcement operations, like ICE has traditionally done for decades, based on reasonable suspicion to question and detain. ICE will conduct these operations and transnational criminal organization investigations with a focus on national security and public safety. I want to be clear. Just because you prioritize public safety threats don't mean we forget about everybody else. We will continue to enforce the immigration laws in this country.
So, Judge Cordell, I want to start with the obvious, and there's no naivete, as I often say, in the asking of this question. Why is he doing this now?
Well, Tom Homan, let's remember who he is. Border czar, that's just made up. It's some made up position that Trump came up with. There was no Senate confirmation of this man. He is there only because of nonstop protests, people of all races, ethnicities, ages out on the streets from day one protesting. He's out there after 2 murders that were captured on camera. He's out there after hundreds, if not thousands, of injuries inflicted by these goons. And hundreds, if not thousands, of illegal detentions. That's why he is there. So Bovino gets kicked out because he's a Nazi. And so we bring in Holman. Now, I guess we're supposed to all be relieved that, wow, he is sent home or taken out 700, leaving 2,000 of these goons. And they are goons because they are not trained. They don't abide by any law enforcement rules. So we're supposed to be grateful to this man who, by the way, accepted a $50,000 cash bribe in a sting operation that still won't admit that he has the money or where it is. So we're supposed to be happy about this. This is distraction. What this whole immigration push is, it's the whitewashing of America, and they're targeting Somalis, anybody brown and black, the Haitians in Springfield, Ohio, they're up next. So no, this is distraction. Taking out 700, leaving in 2,000, it's absurd, it's ridiculous. And I hope people don't get fooled by this or distracted by this.
You've used the word distraction or the derivative 3 times now. What are we being distracted from?
We're being distracted from the big picture. And the big picture is that this administration just wants to take over the entire country and eliminate voting, to eliminate any rights that we, the people, have to say about how this country should be governed. He wants to basically federalize everything. And in doing so, also including it, the whitewashing of America. So it's all part of a real big picture that Stephen Miller is one of the architects of this, wants to see happen in this country. So there are different pieces. They're all now coming together.
What's been your read of, you offered your assessment a moment ago of Tom Homan. I can't resist asking this question. What's your read of Stephen Miller? Stephen Miller
is the most evil of evil people that I can come up with right now. He is from a very good and decent Jewish family, and clearly he hates him. He's a self-hater, and also he's contrarian. He's evil. He is, and for whatever reason, he gives these orders, and Trump just follows these orders. He is behind all of this, and now, slowly now, however, people in the House are calling him out and saying, this is absolutely unacceptable. His own family has called him out, but he's a hater. He absolutely hates everything. And I guess what he's missing is that when if this plan were to come to fruition, which it will not, and Black people, brown people, Asian people got rounded up, pulled up, Native Americans, indigenous people, the next people are going to be the Jews. He's a Jew. I mean, what is he thinking here? So I have not enough bad things I can say about this person who is set on just ruining this country.
Yeah. What's your sense of the direction that this deportation effort that Trump campaigned on is headed? I mean, so ultimately you get pushback in Minnesota. It leads to a replacement of Bovino with Homan, as we just mentioned. Homan now announces the first step in a drawdown of these troops. Other cities have been successful in preventing him from coming to their cities. He hasn't gotten to New Orleans. They pushed back in Chicago. So this thing started out, ablaze. I'm in L.A., as you well know. This program's heard across the country, but I'm sitting in L.A. right now. Started here in L.A., and Mayor Karen Bass had to push back. It popped off in a couple other places. But it seems, certainly after the protest in Minnesota, that this administration has lost ground. Certainly they've not gained any additional traction over the last month or so when it comes to going into cities with ICE agents and harassing, arresting, deporting people. So I don't want to overread this, and I take your point. We shouldn't be, irrationally exuberant about 700 ICE agents being drawn down in one particular place, but it feels, and maybe I'm overstepping, you tell me, it's starting to feel like he's losing ground, not gaining traction on this major issue on which he campaigned. Am I overstating it?
No, you're not. Stephen Miller and Trump have underestimated we the people.
Mm-hmm.
They came in here with a plan and everyone was supposed to just line up and go along with it. Well, they don't know Black people. They don't know brown people. And they completely underestimated. Why do you think Tom Homan was there? Because so many people are protesting and because Trump's poll numbers have dropped dramatically. Nobody wants this. They thought they could just push this on us. So, we are not going to accept this. We are not accepting it. People are in the streets and people will continue to be in the streets. I mean, I'm out protesting. It's been 14 months now, Tavis, right behind where I live in a main area here. I'm in Palo Alto at the very first Tesla showroom. Now, we're not so much focusing on Tesla anymore because we brought that down.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just protesting twice a week. I'll be out there this afternoon. So they have underestimated how much people want democracy in this country. And so now they're, backing off and thinking that we'll pull back some people. No, that's not good enough. And people are calling that out.
Yeah.
So this change, this is what they want is not going to happen in this country.
Yep. I'm reading messages coming in from being posted from listeners around the country, for that matter, around the world, literally. Somebody says, Tavis, I don't think this is an entirely unfair question for Judge Cordell. Here's the question. It seems to me that what Donald Trump wants is the same courtesy from the blue state prisons that Obama received when he set the deportation record. Now, it is a fact. We've discussed it many times on this program. I've not run away from this, that Donald Trump has a long way to go, as did Joe Biden in his one term, to come anywhere near the record of deportations that Barack Obama had. Now, I just talked to Secretary Jay Johnson, former Homeland Security Secretary, on this program some days ago, and he always makes a distinction about the way they deported people during the Obama era. The basic line is that they deported the worst of the worst. They weren't running around harassing people. They weren't grabbing parents and their babies. They were not doing it in the way that Donald Trump is doing it. And so he always tries to put, some texture as to why and how Obama went about doing his job, which is first and foremost to keep the American people safe. That's what the Obama team argues about the way they did deportation. But anyway you explain it, Obama deported more people than any president in the history of this particular country. And here's a listener saying that what Donald Trump wants now is the same thing. What you hear Tom Homan saying is that based on the cooperation of state and local officials, what he's talking about is if they cooperate, giving us access to these prisons, that's exactly what Obama had in these blue states. How do you respond?
I appreciate the question, but the question misses the point about, one, the method that's being employed.
Mm-hmm.
And there are rules about what one can do, due process, about how you have to have probable cause, search warrants, arrest warrants. None of that is being followed. Now, what Obama did, and I haven't heard in his administration anything to contradict this, is that they focused entirely on individuals who were here not legally, however, who also had criminal histories. That is not happening under this administration. This is a roundup. And in fact, the Supreme Court, as I call them, the 6 Supreme disappointments, have basically said, that racial profiling is just fine. If the person has an accent, if they are brown or Black, you can grab them. You can grab them. And of course, you're supposed to then ask them questions, but these people aren't doing that. So I understand the question, but understand there is a process that's still a constitutional one that at least was followed in the Obama administration and not followed at all. This administration could care less about the Constitution. Do you think Donald Trump or Tom Homan have ever read the Constitution? I mean, it's only 4,543 words. And to put that into context, the Old Testament is 500,000 words. So we're only talking like 1%. Do you think they've ever read it? They have not, and they do not care, which is why this is a major, major difference.
Yeah. I don't know that you're familiar with this case. You likely are. Judge Cordell reads a lot, I know. Let me just ask this question first because I don't want to make an assumption. If you don't, I'll give you a couple paragraphs on it, and then we can talk about it. Have you followed this case or read about this case of the Milwaukee County Circuit Court Judge Hannah Dugan, who was found guilty of felony obstruction of an ICE operation? You know this case?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So for those who don't know this, I want to just get Judge Cordell's take on it for the obvious reason. She's a retired Superior Court judge. But here's how far this administration has gone. There's a Milwaukee judge, now a former judge, who was found guilty of felony obstruction of an ICE operation. This is back in December, and she is fighting that. But I just wonder your take on the way that in this instance, a judge, in fact, got in trouble for involving herself or engaging herself, as they see it, in obstructing that is ICE operations. Judge Cordell.
Yeah, so I want to step back. What this administration is doing now is that people who are following the law, who are supposed to show up in court or go to immigration hearings, they're being grabbed. ICE agents were going into courthouses. Courthouses are supposed to be sacred places where you go because there's due process and you follow the rules. I mean, I presided as a judge for 20 years, and we didn't have, law enforcement coming in and grabbing people when they were ordered to be there by a judge. So that's the first thing that is totally outrageous. So this judge says, was informed there are ICE agents ready to grab somebody in her courtroom who was supposed to be there following the rules. So what did she do? She allowed the person to leave, but to go out a side entrance. And the person was eventually grabbed. So what did the Trump administration do? Let's focus on the judge who allowed the person to leave a courthouse peacefully without being grabbed. She's the focus. She gets attacked, and now she's no longer on the bench, and she's fighting it as she should. This is scary. This is scary. But at the same time, I applaud her for standing up and saying, this is a courthouse. This is my courtroom. Nobody comes in here and grabs people who are legally ordered to be there.
Yeah.
So, I stand by her on that.
In the 2 minutes I have right now, we got the rest of the half hour, of course. Second half hour, when we come back, when we come forward here, we can finish up some of the things I want to take your temperature on. But just we're on it right quick in 2 minutes. What's your read of the way that the Trump administration has put upon, and I'm just using that phrase, take any phrase you want, but the way they've put upon the judicial system?
Judges are clearly now targets of the Trump administration. Donald Trump will take to social media to malign judges who don't behave the way they want. And as a result of this, his MAGA people respond. They are listening, and they are taking a very aggressive approach to judges, attacking judges, harming judges, shooting judges, killing judges, organizing protests. And once again, this is what the administration wants. They want what King George III, who was had grievances against him by those who eventually framed the Constitution. Basically, King George III controlled the judiciary. And the folks in America coming here, the framers of the Constitution, said, oh, we don't want that. That's one of our grievances. And yet, this is what Trump wants. He wants to control them all, just like Judge Cannon, a federal judge in Florida. She does whatever he wants Trump to do. So this is part of the plan to just take over and run everything so that Trump controls and his lackeys control everything. It's not going to happen, and we have to stand up. Speaking
of taking control and just running everything, Donald Trump has floated the idea of nationalizing elections. I'm sure you've heard this story or heard him make comments in that regard. He wants to nationalize our elections. I mentioned earlier, Leonard Pitts Jr., a brilliant Pulitzer Prize-winning columnist on this program earlier this week, Leonard's like, I'll bet you, Tavis, that we might not even have elections come November. Everybody's excited about the midterms. How Republicans might take a shellacking. Well, they will, perhaps, if there are elections. But again, Donald Trump wants to nationalize them. We'll explain what that means. Play some sound of Donald Trump talking about that. In fact, he talked about it yesterday, and then let retired Superior Court Judge LaDoris Cordell loose after we hear from Donald Trump. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
Why does Tavis say, when we come forward? Because he's not going back. And you don't have to go back either. Forward ever, backward never. More of Tavis Smiley when we come forward.
They call it progress, but progress has a price. Land once held in black hands, taken, stolen, erased. Acres paved into highways, fields burned. Homes replaced by parking lots and broken promises. Every deed lost was a dream deferred. We talk about millionaires, but what about the millionaires that never were? The farmers whose soil was seized, the families who watched their inheritance disappear, the wealth that never had a chance to grow because its roots were ripped from the ground. They took the land, but never the legacy, because the soil remembers, and so do we. Every story matters. Our mission is to collect, preserve, and amplify these stories. If this is part of your family's history, visit blacklandlost.org/share your story and help bring us closer to justice.
I'm Tammy Eswick with BIN News Now. Several Shelby County Sheriff's deputies, most of them black men, are being hailed heroes after jumping into an icy pond to rescue 2 young boys during the winter weather. One of those black men, Israel Muhammad. He has a plea for parents. He spoke to Fox 13 News.
Regardless of the temperature, when it's freezing cold and becoming weather, just keep them off the ice.
Well, the son of former Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi was killed in northern Africa, according to NBC News. Libyan officials say the initial investigation found that the 53-year-old was shot about 85 miles from the capital, Tripoli. The New York Times says 4 men stormed his house and disabled his security cameras. Well, according to AOL.com, Star Jones recently said she's not interested in returning to the talk show The View anytime soon. Now, why y'all would ask her that in the first place is beyond me. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Celebrate the red, white, and blue, plus save a lot of green. It's the Big O Tires President's Day sale. Now purchase 3 select Big O brand tires, get the 4th tire free with paid installation. By George, that's right. A free tire when you buy 3. The President's Day sale now through February 22nd at Big O Tires.
Escape the confines of the city for the expansive beauty of the Santa Ynez Valley with a short 2-hour drive up the coast. Let Chumash Casino Resort be your destination getaway. Welcome to freedom. Go to chumashcasino.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
There could be a weird atmosphere tonight at the Intuit Dome in Inglewood. The Clippers traded James Harden to the Cleveland Cavaliers Tuesday afternoon. The Cavs are in town to play the Clippers tonight. If Harden passes the mandatory physical, he could be in a Cleveland uniform to face his former team. Darius Garland, the player the Clippers got from Cleveland, is not expected to play tonight. He's been out since January 19th with an ankle injury. Kawhi Leonard was added as a reserve for the NBA All-Star Game. Leonard is averaging 27.6 points and leads the league in steals and free throw percentage. The All-Star Game is February 15th at the Intuit Dome. The Lakers finished their 8-game road trip Tuesday night with a 5-3 record. They beat Brooklyn 125-109. LeBron had 25 points, 7 assists, and 3 steals. Austin Reeves, playing his first game since Christmas, had 15 points in 21 minutes off the bench. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Hi, I'm Tavis Smiley. The tools to hold a meaningful conversation should not be reserved just for a privileged few. It is a skill our world desperately needs in every community, at every table. So I'm pleased to announce the Founding Members Scholarship Program for my online course, The Art of Conversation, in 4 different categories. The Community Builder, for those who serve others, the Rising Voice for emerging communicators, the Bridge Builder for underrepresented perspectives, and the Determined Scholar for those facing financial hardship. If finances are the only barrier between you and this training, well, let's hurdle that barrier. We're accepting applications right now. Let's build this table together.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with the world. African Focus Incorporated is a community-based organization whose mission is to bring Africans and African Americans together, lead charitable initiatives on the motherland, and educate people from all walks of life on the beauty, legacy, and opportunity of Africa's 54 nations. And it's that time once again when African Focus is teaming up with KBLA Talk 1580 for our 8th annual African Focus Trailblazers Tour. Travel with us in 2026 when we're headed to the Southern African nations of Zambia and Botswana for a historical, cultural, and vacation tour led by me, Dominique DePrima, Cultural Ambassador for African Focus Incorporated. Enjoy luxurious accommodations, conscious fellow travelers, shopping, adventures, cultural tours, wildlife safaris, and a giant waterfall, one of the world's 7 wonders, along with a chance to be of service at an orphanage on the continent. Become an AFI trailblazer by exploring the motherland with a nonprofit organization that has members in Africa and America to help roll out the red carpet for you, and together we'll make a difference and have fun doing it. For more information, visit africanfocus.org or call 310-676-7300. That's 310-676-7300 or africanfocus.org. Whether it's stateside or exploring the diaspora, we're with you every step of the way. African Focus and KBLA Talk 1580. Come go with us.
Sometimes he fails at fitting in, but we're okay with that. You're inside the Tavis Smiley Show.
You are indeed with retired Superior Court Judge LaDoris Cordell. Honored to have her back on this program. Her book is called Her Honor, My Life on the Bench, What Works, What's Broken, and How to Change It. Donald Trump is asking, is inviting, is encouraging Republicans to nationalize elections. Take a listen to what he had to say about it just yesterday.
Thank you for taking our questions. What exactly did you mean when you said that you should nationalize elections, and which 15 states are you talking about?
I want to see elections be honest, and if a state can't run an election, I think the people behind me should do something about it. Because, you know, if you think about it, a state is an agent for the federal government in elections. I don't know why the federal government doesn't do them anyway. But when you see some of these states about how horribly they run their elections, what a disgrace it is, I think the federal government, when you see crooked elections, and we had plenty of them, and by the way, we had them last time, but go to 2020 and look at the facts that are coming out. Rigged, crooked elections. If we have areas, take a look at Detroit, take a look at Pennsylvania, take a look at Philadelphia, you go take a look at Atlanta, look at some of the places that horrible corruption on elections, and the federal government should not allow that. The federal government should get involved. These are agents of the federal government to count the votes. If they can't count the votes legally and honestly, then somebody else should take over.
But the Constitution says it should be states that administer elections, Mr. President. That's what the Constitution
you know what?
says.
They can administer the election, but they have to do it honestly.
Judge Cordell, aside from his disregard of the Constitution, which is perennial when you're talking about a guy like Donald Trump, I sit here some days in this chair, I kid you not, and I play a game with myself, and I invite the audience in the days to come to play this game with me. I've never said this before on the national show, but I'm going to say it right now. So when I'm sitting in this chair and I'm playing these clips for you, particularly if they're Donald Trump clips, I literally sit here with my pen in my hand, and I play a game with myself. And the game is, how many lies is Donald Trump telling in this one clip? Now, that clip, just for your knowledge, was 1 minute and 13 seconds long. Every clip has a time on it. I know what it is before I play it. And then I asked Miles to play it for you. So that clip is 1:13, Donald Trump calling for the GOP to nationalize elections. And I sit here with my pen, and I just do 1, 2, 3, 4. I try to count the number of lies in just a singular clip I digress on that for now, but you heard what Donald Trump had to say. Take it away, Judge Cordell.
Sure. I have never heard a more ignorant yet dangerous person speak. First of all, the right to vote is nowhere in the Constitution. The framers intentionally left it out because they did not want to federalize voting, instead to leave it to the states. And historically, it's been the Republicans who have been advocates of states' rights, just the states, not federalizing. Well, here we go. Trump is flipping it on its head. So there is no mention of the right to vote in the Constitution. However, there were 3 amendments to the Constitution about voting. The 15th Amendment that gave the right to vote to Black men, the 19th Amendment that gave the right to vote to women, and the 26th Amendment that gave the right to vote to 18-year-olds and older. So the only other thing we have from the federal government regarding voting is the Voting Rights Act of 1965, signed by LBJ, which has now been almost and about to be completely undone by the 6 Supreme disappointments. So when Trump talks about federalizing, so what he wants is the federal takeover of all voting. And he's basing it all on a lie. And his lie, among many, is that, oh, there's so much voter fraud and there's rigging votes. Not true at all. What he is concerned about and upset about is that he lost the 2020 election. He's a sore loser, and he's claiming it was stolen from him. That's what all of this is actually about. So when he talks about Republicans should take over voting in 15, quote unquote, 15 places, that actually means the interpretation is any place where there are democratically run governorships or predominantly Democratic states, blue states, take them over. Let's just run it and take over all the voting and run it completely and run it into the ground, which is what he wants. Trump, you play the quote here, and Trump said, a state is an agent for the federal government and elections. Where he just made that up. States are not agents of the federal government in anything. He's making this up. He's got this playbook, no doubt, helped by Stephen Miller, Project 2025. So elections are governed by state laws, counties, municipalities. So one county can decide we're going to close our polls at 8:30. Another county in another state could say we're going to close our polls at 8 o'clock. In California, for example, there are mail-in ballots. Everybody gets mail-in ballots. And that brings us really to what he wants to do. Trump wants to build a national voter file. He wants the names and data of everyone who's registered to vote. So why? So he can go after people that he believes are not going to do his bidding. He's already signed an executive order to require proof of citizenship, and also that mail-in ballots have to be in by the time the polls close. Now, fortunately, judges have put a stop to that temporarily, like that executive order has not gone into effect. But he wants to end mail-in balloting. He wants to just end it entirely. And he wants states to gerrymander. He wants them to carve out districts like in Texas, change them up so that they can have basically regions and districts that will be entirely run by Republicans. And that's only some of it. I mean, there's a bill facing in Congress now, one in the House and one in the Senate, and Republicans are calling it the SAVE Act. And the initials stand for Safeguard American Voter Eligibility Act, which is total BS. It is really the most oppressive, restrictive effort yet to suppress votes in this country. And it's things like requiring voters to have birth certificates or passports and all. Well, here's the deal. At least 21 million voters lack ready access to these documents. Half of Americans don't even have a passport. And millions of Americans lack access to a paper copy of their birth certificate. My mother, not here anymore, sadly, my mother didn't have a birth certificate. She was born in a house in North Carolina before they all came up in the Great Migration. And we had a big family Bible. with her name in it, showing where she fell in the family line. And that's how she was able to get a Social Security card. There are lots of folks like this. And these bills being proposed by the Republicans are dramatically oppressive and suppressing the vote in this country. And let's hope these bills do not get passed, which means Democrats have got to stand up and not back down when these bills get pushed even further.
If this is your first time hearing of retired Superior Court Judge LaDoris Cordell on this program, you've been missing out. She pops in here with some regularity, and for that we are grateful. But when you heard her say the 6 supreme disappointments, that's her line. She uses it every time, and I just sit and wait for it because I love it. The 6 supreme disappointments. By the way, in that clip of a minute and 13 seconds that she referenced that we played a moment ago from Donald Trump, in case you're curious, I counted 6.5 lies. He was half right about one comment. So 6.5 lies I counted in a minute and 13 seconds. I digress on that for now. We mentioned earlier that we are now in the 100th anniversary of these Black History Month celebrations. And I want to juxtapose the journey that black folk have been on. You heard her just now talk about her precious mother who didn't even have a birth certificate. I want to talk about the journey that black folk in particular have been on in this place called America for the last 100 years at least, and why Republicans have always been and remain so hostile to voting. It's not just Donald Trump. Donald Trump now wants to nationalize elections. Thankfully, the GOP Senate leader, John Thune, has come out publicly and said he disagrees with Donald Trump wanting to nationalize elections. So there's at least one guy who runs the Senate right now who says Trump's wrong about that. But why has the GOP always been, and is now more than ever, so hostile to voting, particularly voting by people who look like you and me? You're listening to Judge LaDoris Cordell on Tavis Smiley.
Hope, agency, dignity. This is Tavis Smiley.
Can you dig it? Come on! And we're live here outside the Perez family home, just waiting for the... And there they go, almost on time this morning. Mom is coming out the front door strong with a double-arm kid carry. Looks like Dad has the bags. Daughter is bringing up the rear. Oh, but the diaper bag wasn't closed. Diapers and toys are everywhere. Ooh, but Mom has just nailed the perfect car seat buckle for the toddler. And now the eldest daughter, who looks to be about 9 or 10, has secured herself in the booster seat. Dad zips the bag closed, and they're off. But looks like Mom doesn't realize her coffee cup is still on the roof of the car. And there it goes. Oh, that's a shame. That mug was a fam favorite.
Don't sweat the small stuff. Just nail the big stuff, like making sure your kids are buckled correctly in the right seat for their age and size. Learn more at nhtsa.gov/the right seat.
Visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat.
Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
What's up? What's up? What's up? We got to laugh the pain away.
Hey, KBLA delegation, happy Black History Month. Around here, we celebrate our culture, our community, and our contributions daily. But this year, as we observe the 100th anniversary of Black History Month celebrations, we're excited about our annual KBLA Talk 1580 Black History Month Luncheon, honoring comedy greats. On Thursday, February 26th at the Grammy Museum in downtown LA, we're toasting D.L. Hughley, Melanie Camacho, Earthquake, Munell, Dion Cole, and Martin Lawrence with a surprise guest appearance. A limited number of individual tickets for the luncheon remain, so now would be a good time to head to KBLA1580.com to secure one for yourself. That's KBLA1580.com. A little laughter goes a long way, especially in times like these. So come, join us for our annual KBLA Talk 1580 Black History Month Luncheon, Thursday, February 26th at the Grammy Museum. Again, tickets are available right now at KBLA1580.com.
Well, I hang around my boy, he been married for 6 years. Videotaping his wedding day, never watched it. Now and every day he watch it every day, but he watch it in reverse. Because he said he loves seeing himself take that ring back off of that finger. Walking back down that aisle, just waving at her ugly mother down the church. Getting back in the limo, back at the bachelor party. Look how happy I was.
Honoring excellence, resilience, and achievement, we're KBLA Talk 1580.
Are you drowning in IRS tax debt? Angela was. She called Civic Tax Relief and saved over $80,000. Felicia was having health problems, got behind on her taxes, interest and penalties were adding up. She called Civic Tax Relief and saved over $15,000. Civic Tax Relief is a professional tax negotiation firm that can protect you from the IRS. If you're getting collection letters, call Civic Tax Relief for a free consultation. They will go to work helping you discover all the relief programs you may qualify for free. James owed the IRS $37,000. Civic Tax Relief represented him against the IRS, and by the time everything was completed, he did not owe the IRS anything. If you are in trouble with the IRS, call Civic Tax Relief for your free consultation. 800-2257. 800-200-2257. Get a free consultation and real tax relief. Call 800-200-2257. 800-200-2257.
And the top-rated African-American talk show host in the nation, according to Talkers Magazine. You're tapped in with Tavis Smiley right now.
Tavis Smiley and retired Superior Court Judge LaDoris Cordell. Once again, her book, which I highly recommend, as I always do when she's on. One of the best books I've read in the last couple of years. It's called Her Honor, My Life on the Bench, What Works, What's Broken, and How to Change It. Watching my time is getting away from me, Judge Cordell, as it always does when you come on. But Donald Trump, as I said earlier, is not the first Republican to be hostile toward voting rights in this country. The 6 supreme disappointments, as you mentioned earlier, are hostile to voting rights. What's that about? Again, no naivete here, but why have they always been, and why are they now on steroids when it comes to attacking voting rights?
Well, they are attacking voting rights because they understand that when people vote, people then can determine where this country goes. And there are those who don't want this country to go in a certain direction. So they engage in othering. It's important that they point out that diversity, equity, inclusion is really about othering. And why are we letting other people, meaning those that are not white, quote unquote, have advantages, which we don't. And so it's really about maintaining a system that benefits those who have money and who have power. And if you give the right to vote to everyone, people who are eligible to vote, then that system gets disrupted. They can't keep what they want. So look at history is the best teacher. So in America, we had the Chinese Exclusion Act, where we basically said, this government said, we don't want any more Chinese here. Although Chinese were here who actually built the railroads, especially here in the western part of the United States. We had an act where Mexicans were rounded up, citizens here, because if they were viewed as a threat to labor and to workers in this country. And then, of course, we had slavery, where greedy slave owners basically were too lazy or too greedy to actually pay people for their labor, and instead brought over human beings to do everything for them for free. So you have a system that now the Republican Party has basically said, this voting, if we let brown people, Black people, Asian people, folks who don't have a big piece of the pie yet to vote, maybe our piece of the pie isn't going to be that big. And it really surfaced when Obama was in office, when you had this Black family sitting up in the White House. Yeah. And you saw this kind of a trend to say, it's okay to be hateful and to really other people. And now, as you've put it, it's taken off on steroids. So, and what's the key to all of this? To America is voting. That is the key. That's the voice that we, the people, have. Yeah. And they're intent upon seeing that we don't exercise that voice. They're not going to win. They're not going to prevail. And they've tried all kinds of stuff. But I will tell you, Tavis, the voting is so important that it enrages me when I hear people, and I don't care what color, white, Black, whatever, who say, no, I didn't vote. I'm too tired. Yeah. Or, it's not going to mean anything. And it absolutely outrages me. Because people like my mother, my grandparents, great-grandparents who struggled so that Tavis Smiley could have this show that reaches people around the world.
Yeah, no. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off, Judge. You are preaching to the choir. You are preaching to the choir. I can see why you enraged. I feel similarly. Our remaining moments with Judge LaDoris Cordell when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
What's your quarrel with the world? You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
You can't escape a traffic jam. Know what else you can't escape? Seasonal allergies. And you might think you can avoid that coffee stain until... Oh, really? You can't escape a lot of things in life, but you can escape prediabetes. Prediabetes captures 1 in 3 adults. There are usually no signs of prediabetes. In fact, most people don't even know they have it. But with early diagnosis, you can change the outcome and prevent or delay type 2 diabetes. Take action by taking the 1-minute risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org. You might not be able to escape having this song stuck in your head, but you can escape prediabetes. Go to doihaveprediabetes.org today. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The Autopsy Initiative provides a second autopsy free of charge for victims' families who have lost their loved ones due to a police-related death. The services offered through the initiative include the completion of a second autopsy, disclosure of preliminary findings, and a final autopsy report. A police-related death is when an individual is harmed by police officers using deadly force, which results in an individual's death. Police-related death includes in-custody deaths, including those that arise during contact with law enforcement officers during arrest, pursuit, booking, transport, or incarceration. The Autopsy Initiative has a team of board-certified pathologists on call. An autopsy request may be completed by anyone with a close relationship with the victim, which may include the victim's spouse, partner, relative, close friend, or lawyer. To request a free second autopsy for a victim of police violence, please visit knowyourrightscamp.com. That's knowyourrightscamp.com. Then click on Autopsy, then click on Request. At KBLA, we believe in justice for victims of police violence. We say their names, and we don't black down. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Freedom is an endless meeting. So let's get back to it with Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley, Judge LaDoris Cordell. I've got 2.5 minutes here, Judge Cordell. I want to give it to you right quick. We all saw this story that Donald Trump had an unusual call. That's one way to put it. Unusual call with FBI agents after this election center search down in Fulton County, Georgia. Again, we're coming back to this issue of elections and voting. But it's weird for a president to be put on a speakerphone with FBI agents after an election search.
This is the craziness, Tavis. This is what this man is doing. He's so intent on showing that the 2020 election was rigged, which it was not. So he gets on the phone and also with Tulsi Gabbard. What's she doing there?
Exactly.
She's the national director of
security?
National
Yeah.
And she has nothing to do with domestic criminal investigations. And there she is. This is so messed up, Tavis. It's all so messed up. So understand, this man's on a tear. He's doing everything illegally, improperly. And how we turn it around? We turn it around by people getting out and voting to make sure we have a democratically controlled Senate and House, and basically can start to stop this role that this man is starting on. And just going down to Fulton County, they took 700 boxes. And get this, the search warrant is sealed. We can't know who's targeted. The people who had to give up the boxes don't even know what is alleged to have occurred. They're charging 2 federal crimes, but we don't even know against whom. It was sealed, sealed by a magistrate, and don't know why. And by the way, when you take something out, if they're ordered to make copies and then return them, the people in Georgia don't even know what all was taken. There should have been an inventory. So when things are returned, they don't know if they even got all of their stuff back.
Yeah.
Here we go.
It reminds me of all those boxes he had in his bathroom. at Mar-a-Lago. And we didn't know what he had stolen from the White House when he left the first time. So here we have more boxes, and we don't know what's in them either. And just for the record, Tulsi Gabbard's official title is the Director of National Intelligence. That's her official title, Director of National Intelligence. But here again, a bizarre story. You have a raid on an election center in Georgia, and right after the search, the National Intelligence Director puts the FBI on the phone with the president on speakerphone so he can talk to them about what they just did, what they found, et cetera, et cetera. He's breaking every rule of law ever written in this country, but I digress. Always honored to have retired Supreme Court Judge LaDoris Cordell on this program. Her book, once again, is called Her Honor, My Life on the Bench, What Works, What's Broken, and How to Change It. George Cordell, as much as you can after your protest, enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you so much, and give my best to Benjamin Crump when you have your press conference.
I will indeed. He'll be in the building shortly. I think I'll talk to him later. All right, more of Tavis Smiley when we come forward.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Tammy Eswick with BIN News Now. Several Shelby County Sheriff's deputies, most of them black men, are being hailed heroes after jumping into an icy pond to rescue 2 young boys during the winter weather. One of those black men, Israel Muhammad. He has a plea for parents. He spoke to Fox 13 News.
Regardless of the temperature, when it's freezing cold and inclement weather, just keep them off the ice.
Well, the son of former Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi was killed in northern Africa, according to NBC News. Libyan officials say the initial investigation found that the 53-year-old was shot about 85 miles from the capital, Tripoli. The New York Times says 4 men stormed his house and disabled his security cameras. Well, according to AOL.com, Star Jones recently said she's not interested in returning to the talk show The View anytime soon. Now, why y'all would ask her that in the first place is beyond me. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Escape the confines of the city for the expansive beauty of the Santa Ynez Valley with a short 2-hour drive up the coast. Let Chumash Casino Resort be your destination getaway. Welcome to freedom. Go to chumashcasino.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
There could be a weird atmosphere tonight at the Intuit Dome in Inglewood. The Clippers traded James Harden to the Cleveland Cavaliers Tuesday afternoon. The Cavs are in town to play the Clippers tonight. If Harden passes the mandatory physical, he could be in a Cleveland uniform to face his former team. Darius Garland, the player the Clippers got from Cleveland, is not expected to play tonight. He's been out since January 19th with an ankle injury. Kawhi Leonard was added as a reserve for the NBA All-Star Game. Leonard is averaging 27.6 points and leads the league in steals and free throw percentage. The All-Star Game is February 15th at the Intuit Dome. The Lakers finished their 8-game road trip Tuesday night with a 5-3 record. They beat Brooklyn 125-109. LeBron had 25 points, 7 assists, and 3 steals. Austin Reeves, playing his first game since Christmas, had 15 points in 21 minutes off the bench. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
They call it progress, but progress has a price. Land once held in black hands, taken, stolen, erased. Acres paved into highways, fields burned. Homes replaced by parking lots and broken promises. Every deed lost was a dream deferred. We talk about millionaires, but what about the millionaires that never were? The farmers whose soil was seized, the families who watched their inheritance disappear, the wealth that never had a chance to grow because its roots were ripped from the ground. They took the land, but never the legacy, because the soil remembers, and so do we. Every story matters. Our mission is to collect, preserve, and amplify these stories. If this is part of your family's history, visit blacklandlost.org/share your story and help bring us closer to justice.
That's Uncle Charlie and the Gap Band. Outstanding, and I hope you're doing outstanding today. With all the drama swirling around us, we are in the 100th anniversary of Black History Month, and there's something to celebrate there, even as we try to hold others accountable to the best interest of our people, and for that matter, all fellow citizens in this country. We are now in hour two. Two conversations on the B side of this hour. R&B crooner Kenny Lattimore and his real-life TV judge, his bride, Faith Jenkins, come in studio today for a preview of a big announcement they are making today alongside noted attorney Ben Crump. There are a number of celebrities in addition to Kenny and Faith, who actually are in our building today. So we have a nice conference room here, actually a few conference rooms in our building, a couple. So they asked to use our building today. So they are making a big announcement today. Ben Crump and a number of Hollywood celebrities making a big announcement that I will let them tee up when they get here on the backside of this hour. But we're pleased to allow them to use our building, our conference room, to make this big announcement today, which everybody will be talking about, I'm sure, tomorrow. But Ben Crump and others will be here in our building today. But we'll talk to Kenny and Faith on the backside of this hour. We commenced this hour in conversation with our regular contributor, Ruben Navarrette Jr. And I want to start with a clip here of Adriano Espaillat. I think I got the right, Adriano Espaillat, who is the chair of the Hispanic caucus. There were a number of Democratic leaders in the House yesterday, including the chairs of the Hispanic, Black, Asian Pacific, American, and Progressive caucuses, all speaking at a protest outside of ICE headquarters in D.C., calling for the immediate resignation, the immediate firing, to be exact, of Kristi Noem as Secretary of Homeland Security. We'll play Mr. Espaillat and his comments, again, surrounded by other leaders in the House yesterday. We'll play that for you here in just a second. But the news of an hour or so ago was that Trump Board Czar Tom Homan announced a drawdown of 700 ICE agents in Minnesota. That still leaves a couple thousand ICE agents in place. We talked about this with Judge LaDoris Cordell in the first hour. Homan says that a complete drawdown would depend on the continued cooperation from state and local agencies. That sounds suspect, but we'll let Ruben unpack that when we come forward here in just a second. Here now, sound from Adriano Espaillat. I guess can't say that last name, Espaillat, the chair of the Hispanic caucus in D.C. yesterday.
The person leading the agency, who has been at watch, under her watch, has seen these atrocities, including the killing, the shooting of 2 U.S. citizens, should step down or be impeached. So we're here to support Congresswoman Robin Kelly's bill that would impeach Secretary Noem. And we're here to say that immigration and ICE has gone full circle, and the American people see it for what it is. They see ICE for what it is, an abusive agency that goes around our cities and neighborhoods threatening and terrorizing families, hardworking families that all they want to do is bring food to our table, take care of our children and our frail elderly. And we pay our taxes while we do that. So you see the diversity of support that we're getting here today from the Congressional Progressive Caucus, the Congressional Black Caucus, the Women's Caucus. The New Dems are here with us today. This issue has gone full circle, and the Congressional Hispanic Caucus is saying enough is enough.
That is the chair of the Hispanic caucus, Adriano Espaillat, out of New York, calling, as you heard, for the impeachment of Secretary Kristi Noem at Homeland Security. When we come forward, we'll get Ruben's take on all of these groups, all these Democratic leaders, Black Caucus, Hispanic Caucus, Asian Caucus, New Dems, Progressive Caucus, all gathered yesterday for this major press conference in D.C. So the heat is building on Donald Trump to do something about Kristi Noem. Will he? Won't he? Who knows? Again, these 700 ICE agents have now been drawn down immediately in Minnesota. We'll let Ruben have his take at this when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
Interrogating and unpacking. That's what we do around here. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
Hi, I'm Tavis Smiley. The tools to hold a meaningful conversation should not be reserved just for a privileged few. It is a skill our world desperately needs in every community, at every table. So I'm pleased to announce the Founding Members Scholarship Program for my online course, The Art of Conversation, in 4 different categories. The Community Builder, for those who serve others. The Rising Voice, for emerging communicators. The Bridge Builder, for underrepresented perspectives. And the Determined Scholar, for those facing financial hardship. If finances are the only barrier between you and this training, well, let's hurdle that barrier. We're accepting applications right now at tavistalks.com. That's tavistalks.com. The priority deadline is February the 10th. So visit tavistalks.com right now and let's build this table together.
Wouldn't it be great if life came with a remote control? You know, you could hit pause when you needed to, or hit rewind. Like that time you knocked down that wasp's nest.
Uh-oh.
Or that time you forgot to roll up your windows in the car wash.
Fantastic.
Yeah, a remote control would have come in handy then. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes like managing your weight, getting active, stopping smoking, and eating healthier, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. It's easy to learn your risk. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Life doesn't come with a remote control. Yikes! So you're on your own with the wasps. You have the power to take control of prediabetes. Visit doihaveprediabetes.org today. That's doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its Prediabetes Awareness Partners.
The holidays mean more travel, more shopping, more time online, and more personal info in more places that could expose you more to identity theft. But LifeLock monitors millions of data points per second. If your identity is stolen, our US-based restoration specialists will fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Don't face drained accounts, fraudulent loans, or financial losses alone. Get more holiday fun and less holiday worry with LifeLock. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS. Visit lifelock.com. Terms apply.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Saline from Vicks.
Sinex Saline nasal spray?
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Saline instantly clears everyday congestion associated with colds and year-round allergies with a gentle, ultra-fine mist that's no mess and easy to control.
Daddy, we need more balloons.
On it.
Enjoy life's important moments without congestion. Try Sinex Saline from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
Less monologue, more dialogue. Tavis Smiley continues right now.
He does indeed with a nationally syndicated columnist, Ruben Navarrette Jr. He is the most widely read Latino columnist in the nation, not to mention his Substack, his Ruben in the Center podcast, etc., etc., etc. But he is not so busy that he can't give his brother 30 minutes of his time. Ruben Navarrette Jr., how are you, my friend?
I'm never that busy. I am never that busy. I got to give my brother some love whenever I can. So good to be with you again.
It's good to hear your voice. Before I jump into this conversation right quick, let me just say that you and I are now in the same boat. Ruben just recently lost his father, a longtime police officer up in Northern California. Ruben and I have known each other for 30 years or so, I think. We've been brothers a long time, and so I just lost my dad a year and a half or so ago, and now Ruben has lost his father. Yep. And for those listening across the country, you know, obviously, many of you do, what it's like to lose a parent. Parents are not supposed to outlive their children, and we know the life cycle. Every one of us has to do that dance with mortality. But even though we know these things, it's difficult when you have to put a parent down into the ground. And so I wanted you to know how much I love you, and obviously I reached out to you privately, as you well. Nobody wants to say publicly. Yeah. Since it has become public knowledge that your father passed away. I saw the piece you wrote about your dad. Beautiful tribute to your father. I heard the podcast you and your brother did talking about your father. Thank you. Just wanted to give you my love publicly once again and say my condolences with you, and your precious family. That said, hold on. Sure.
Oh, so let me tell you, when your dad passed away, as you recall, I likewise heard your editorial on KBLA, and I likewise reached out to you privately.
That's right.
And I felt a pain, a heartbreak, because of my love for you, because of our friendship, and I know you felt the same thing in return when it was my turn. And you're right, we know this day will come, but it doesn't make it any easier when it's your turn.
That's right.
And that's something that's profound. Your dad stays with me. My dad stays with your dad stays with you, and my dad stays with me. And it's amazing how much you can miss somebody when they're gone. They leave an incredibly big hole, and it isn't until you lose somebody that you realize just how important they were to you. So I thank you. I share that thought with you, and I treasure those private, messages that you and I sent back during those difficult moments.
He is my brother beloved. We've been loving each other for 30 years and arguing with each other for 30 years. And yet we are still in full support of each other. I should also mention, this is Ruben. This is a big deal. I've been at this for 30 plus years myself now, but this marks Ruben's 25th year in syndication. That's a big deal to have a Latino in this country who they have listened to and let write columns in major newspapers for 25 years. That's right. That's a big deal. All right. All that said, I love and celebrate Ruben Navarrette Jr. So Tom Homan made a big announcement today, drawing down 700 on the one hand. On the other hand, you hear these leaders in D.C. yesterday calling for the immediate firing, resignation, or impeachment of Kristi Noem. Make it all make sense, Ruben.
Well, first of all, we are 9 months removed from the Los Angeles invasion, the invasion of Los Angeles by federal law enforcement officers and the National Guard 9 months ago in June of last year. And it's taken the Congressional Hispanic Caucus, the Asian Pacific Caucus, the Black Caucus a long time to get to this point. So let me just say welcome. I'll say to my Latino brothers in the Congressional Hispanic Caucus, I hope you enjoyed your siesta. Because you have been out of this game for too long. I welcome you into the fray. Because Kristi Noem should resign. ICE has gone way off the tracks. It's become a secretive rogue agency. And certain things have come to light, I think, in terms of putting this issue in finer focus. And here's the bottom line. This agenda, this mission has devolved from what it initially set out to be. It was supposed to be, and it was marketed to be, an attempt to go after criminal, undocumented immigrants, the worst of the worst. Mm-hmm. It went from there to legal citizens with green cards who were literally at citizenship ceremonies, about to put their hand on a Bible and calling off the ceremony and arresting people as they walk out the door. It's a talk about denaturalizing U.S. citizens, rounding up refugees, Hmong refugees in Minnesota, Somali immigrants and migrants in Minnesota, African Americans born in this country, Latino Americans born in this country, people of color being targeted, due process being shredded, the Fourth Amendment being thrown out the window because ICE says they can go into your home without a search warrant. All this, Tavis, has gone way far afield from where they started. Mm-hmm. So I almost feel like the real column I'm dying to write is, how has Minnesota changed us, and how has this operation changed in those 9 months? And it simply has gone beyond immigration. It is no longer about immigration. It's about repression and about stripping the Constitution and eroding people's civil liberties and their civil rights.
Let me help you write your column, something I've done a number of times over the course of our 30-year friendship. I can help Ruben write his column by getting him to think out loud on a live radio program. So let's do this. So what are the ways in which you think, what are the ways you're wrestling with for how Minnesota perhaps has in fact changed us? What are you thinking?
Well, look, I mean, I love Los Angeles. I've lived there. You love Los Angeles. Los Angeles did not rise to the occasion of pushing back against ICE and Border Patrol to the degree that Minnesota has.
And let me add right quick. I think you're right about that. I love L.A., but you're right. Let's just call it what it is. We did not push back in the way they have in Minnesota. We did not rise to the occasion, number one. Number two, it is fair to say about L.A., though, that two persons weren't killed either. I suspect if they had killed two fellow citizens in L.A. might have been more robust in its response, number two. But number three, the part that really impresses me is that we didn't rise to the occasion the way they did in Minnesota, and it was 80 degrees in L.A. It wasn't 80 below like it is in Minnesota. I digress. Please continue.
Well, I'll tell you what. Here's another thing. Minnesota had the benefit of hindsight. It had the benefit of seeing what had gone on in other cities, in Chicago, in Los Angeles, in New Orleans, in Washington, D.C. And because of that, it was geared up and it was ready. It knew how bad it could get. Now, I would say what happened in Minnesota has shocked and surprised all of us. It's worse than we could have imagined. Okay? So granted, there are real-life casualties in Minnesota. But I think there's another dynamic here. You're only as strong as your leaders. I'm gonna level this indictment at the Los Angeles Police Department. I had a hope at the beginning in June of last year that the LA Police Department, especially the chief of police, would step up and basically say, I don't take orders from the federal government. If you abuse the rights of people in the city of Los Angeles, I'm going to send my own officers down there to put handcuffs on ICE agents. Because I have a role to play too. And municipal government matters, and states' rights and city rights matter. And the chief of police in LA at the LAPD does not take orders from Donald Trump. Guess what, Tavis? That actually happened. And that kind of leadership did not take place in Los Angeles. Quite the opposite. It took place in Minnesota. Brian O'Hara, who is the police chief in Minneapolis, and who was hired after George Floyd was killed in Minneapolis. He came from New Jersey, and he took over the police department, basically said on Face the Nation the other day that people have had enough and people's rights will not be abused, and I'm empowering my officers to make sure that if they see any kind of abuse taking place, they are going to have to act on it or they will be fired.
Yeah.
So I'm drawing an apples-to-apples comparison. Not all police chiefs have the same level of guts and nerve and backbone, and I'm disappointed that LAPD didn't rise to the occasion and that they are still, to this day, playing a poor second place to Minneapolis.
Yeah. No, LAPD did not rise to the occasion in that regard. I was away a few weeks ago for just a day, and while I was away, my fill-in, my colleague, Dr. Nicolai Corte, was in for me that day, and he had the sister sheriff in Philadelphia as a guest on this program, and she has gone all in. She's like Mr. O'Hara.
Yeah,
she's
good for her.
I dare you to come to Philadelphia and try that nonsense. But you're right. We didn't step up that way. LAPD did not step up that way. And for that matter, neither did the sheriff's department here in LA. And I'm chagrined by that in the way that you are. But let me circle back to your again. I'm helping you out your column, so give me some credit when you push this out. So we asked the us question: how Minnesota has changed us. Let me ask the them question. So, we can, again, talk, in the days to come about whether or not and how Minnesota has changed all the rest of us. The them I'm referring to is Donald Trump, the sycophants, the Republicans, Kristi Noem, Tom Homan, et cetera, et cetera. The question is, did Minnesota change them? And here's why that question matters to me, Ruben. It matters because, as I said in the first hour today, I don't know where Donald Trump goes from here. That's a Kingian question. Since we're in Black History Month, 100 years of celebrating Black History Month this year, Dr. King asked that question, as you know, where do we go from here? My question is, where does Donald Trump go from here? Because it seems to me, and I don't think I'm overstating this, Judge Cordell agreed with me in hour one. Let's see if Ruben agrees here in hour two. It seems to me that Donald Trump is losing traction on this all-important issue on which he campaigned successfully, immigration. He's being pushed back everywhere he goes. 2 Americans have now been murdered. He didn't get to Chicago. He didn't get to New Orleans. It seems he's now, I'm pausing even as I use this word. I'm grabbing myself even as I use it. But he seems to be, can I say, stymied? He's being stymied in this immigration effort. So the question is, has he learned anything? How has Minnesota changed him? How has it changed them? Is that a fair question?
It's a fair question, and it's worth pointing out here, you're right, that he used to have at least one saving grace. He was losing in poll numbers. He was underwater in his polls on the tariffs, the economy, NATO, but he was doing well on immigration. They gave him credit for closing the border. Sealing the border. I dispute that the border is actually sealed, but that's a different issue. At least he got credit for that. He has now squandered, thanks to Minnesota, those poll numbers on immigration. They've been squandered, and now he's underwater on immigration too.
Yep.
Let me say out loud something that many of your listeners know. You've probably said it privately. I don't know if you said it publicly. I'll say it now. Donald Trump and the Department of Homeland Security and Stephen Miller and Kristi Noem and Tom Homan, they all screwed up, and Greg Gavino, they all screwed up when they went to Minnesota. The reason they screwed up in Minnesota is they killed white folks. If they had killed, and they do, in fact, you have incidents in the past of Border Patrol agents killing people who are Latino on the border. You have a long string, you don't need me to tell you this, long string of law enforcement officers killing young black men.
That's right.
But when you go to Minnesota and you kill 2 white liberals, okay, you're going to have that kind of blowback. And that's the blowback that they've now experienced. I'm not celebrating that fact. This is a tragedy for those two families, but it's a hard reality that a lot of people find themselves able to relate to Alex Freddie and Renee Good in a way that they couldn't relate to people of color, perhaps. And so to that end, it was a bridge too far. Minnesota turned out to be a bridge too far. Here's another mistake, Tavis. You don't want the Border Patrol, who operates on the southern border with Mexico, in Minnesota, because there's a rough and tumble that goes on the border that does not play well in urban cities. So the very fact that Alex Freddie was killed by two Border Patrol agents, who were Latino, by the way, who are Border Patrol agents and not ICE agents, that's significant, because Border Patrol agents are used to rugged terrain. They have a whole different kind of training involved. We know that when you give over $75 billion to ICE through the big, beautiful bill, and they say we're going to hire 10,000 agents in 1 year, they cut the training from 13 weeks to 6 weeks. They start hiring people willy-nilly. You have a bunch of unqualified folks out there who have guns, no training. And here's the last thing. I think in many cases they have racist tendencies that lead them to look for and target black people, brown people, and Asian folks.
Yeah. Ruben was being somewhat rhetorical because he knows me and has for decades, as we established earlier in this conversation. So he knows I have already raised the good white people issue. He knows I raised that issue.
Yep.
I raised the good white people issue, as I call it, with a few times. Most recently, a day or two ago, at Leonard Pitts Jr., the Pulitzer Prize winning, speaking of columnists, Pulitzer Prize winning columnist, Leonard Pitts Jr. was here, and I asked him point blank whether or not it changes anything that these are white folk who they killed.
100%.
In Minnesota. So yes, we've already raised that issue on this program. I got 2 minutes left. I'll give it to you. I'm asking this question as the exit because he has been syndicated himself now for 25 years. That's a big deal. He is the most widely read Latino columnist in the nation. So he is fairly and squarely, after his graduation from Harvard, fairly and squarely in the business of being a journalist. And you know where I'm going here. They have Trump. They've been arresting and detaining. We've had some of them on our program. Nikema Levy-Armstrong was here earlier this week. So they've been arresting protesters in Minnesota. They've been arresting journalists in Minnesota, 9 or so of them to be exact. Your take very quickly on Trump going after journalists, Ruben.
Look, journalists and even private citizens, I mean, every day I open up my phone, I'm not sure what kind of horror show I'm going to be privy to. But what I saw yesterday, and I'll give you an example, a 67-year-old man U.S. citizen who wrote an angry email to DHS, and now he says he's being followed and being targeted by ICE agents. We have crossed over to a different place now where this is not a normal administration doing normal things. They are targeting people. They are arresting people. This is no longer about immigration. This is about repression. I don't want to sound too much like our beloved brother Cornel West here, but he's right. This is about oppression, repression. This is about stripping people of their civil rights and eroding our democracy. And that's not hyperbole anymore, given what we've seen in Minnesota. They've just gone too far.
Yep. Ruben writes rather well. That's why he's been syndicated again for 25 years. One of his most recent pieces I recommend you read. You can find it. Google his name, Google Creator Syndicate. He's syndicated by Creator Syndicate. The piece is called ICE Thinks It Can Purge America of Immigrants, but Demographics Would Like a Word. That's the piece. I ain't got time to get into it. ICE thinks it can purge America of immigrants, but demographics would like a word. Just look it up. You'll find it online and read Ruben's piece, courtesy of his Creators Syndicate. Ruben, I love you, man. Again, pulling and praying for you. You and your family are in my prayers with the loss of your father, and I will talk to you privately soon before we talk again publicly.
Your friendship is a blessing to me. Thank you, my brother. I love you.
I love you back. More of Tavis Smiley, including a conversation with Faith Jenkins and Kenny Lattimore in studio when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
For all the freedom-loving folk, this is Tavis Smiley.
I feel like freedom.
They call it progress, but progress has a price. Land once held in black hands, taken, stolen, erased. Acres paved into highways, fields burned. Homes replaced by parking lots and broken promises. Every deed lost was a dream deferred. We talk about millionaires, but what about the millionaires that never were? The farmers whose soil was seized. The families who watched their inheritance disappear. The wealth that never had a chance to grow because its roots were ripped from the ground. They took the land, but never the legacy, because the soil remembers, and so do we. Every story matters. Our mission is to collect, preserve, and amplify these stories. If this is part of your family's history, visit blacklandlost.org/share your story and help bring us closer to justice.
I'm Tammy Eswick with BIN News Now. We start in Texas, where the State Board of Education is crafting a wish list of historical topics that will guide future social studies classes. But at issue is that Democrats want young children to learn about slavery in the United States. Republicans say it's not necessary. Here's Republican Julie Prickren.
There were a lot more people than Africans that were enslaved. I mean, we had white Europeans that were enslaved as indentured servants.
Just to clarify, indentured servitude and chattel slavery are not the same. Well, turning to Chicago, where Mayor Brandon Johnson is defending his order to investigate misconduct by federal agents. But he says he's not trying to tell Cook County State's Attorney Eileen O'Neill Burke how to handle investigations as she looks into the validity of his executive order. Finally, TMZ is reporting that Little John's son, DJ Youngslade, is missing in Georgia. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Escape the confines of the city for the expansive beauty of the Santa Ynez Valley with a short 2-hour drive up the coast. Let Chumash Casino Resort be your destination getaway. Welcome to freedom. Go to chumashcasino.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Celebrate the red, white, and blue, plus save a lot of green. It's the Big O Tires President's Day sale. Now purchase 3 select Big O brand tires, get the 4th tire free with paid installation. By George, that's right. A free tire when you buy 3. The President's Day sale now through February 22nd at Big O Tires.
Is this the This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
There could be a weird atmosphere tonight at the Intuit Dome in Inglewood. The Clippers traded James Harden to the Cleveland Cavaliers Tuesday afternoon. The Cavs are in town to play the Clippers tonight. If Harden passes the mandatory physical, he could be in a Cleveland uniform to face his former team. Darius Garland, the player the Clippers got from Cleveland, is not expected to play tonight. He's been out since January 19th with an ankle injury. Kawhi Leonard was added as a reserve for the NBA All-Star game. Leonard is averaging 27.6 points and leads the league in steals and free throw percentage. The All-Star game is February 15th at the Intuit Dome. The Lakers finished their 8-game road trip Tuesday night with a 5-3 record. They beat Brooklyn 125-109. LeBron had 25 points, 7 assists, and 3 steals. Austin Reeves, playing his first game since Christmas, had 15 points in 21 minutes off the bench. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
I'm Reverend Gerald, the life coach. Is someone you love struggling with addiction and mental illness? Is improving your family's health important? Want to leave a legacy that your family can grow? Are you ready to enhance your perception of life experiences? Then wake up weekends at 7 a.m. with Urban Family Focus and get the wisdom, opportunity, resources, and motivation to live your best life. Join the conversation on Urban Family Focus Saturday and Sunday at 7 a.m.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black. This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
The more you listen to your kids, the closer you'll be. So we asked kids, what do you want your parents to hear?
I feel sometimes that I'm not listened to. I would just want you to listen to me more often and evaluate situations with me and lead me towards success.
We're not adults, so just be there and listen. I just want someone to yap to. And I just feel like I'll be fine if someone just hears me talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk.
You're doing a really good job. And I don't think I tell you that enough. And I know sometimes we get into it and it's just hard on both of us. But, try to understand me more and I'll try to do the same.
Listening is a form of love. Find resources to help you support your kids and their emotional well-being at sounditouttogether.org. That's sounditouttogether.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and Pivotal.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with the world. African Focus Incorporated is a community-based organization whose mission is to bring Africans and African Americans together, lead charitable initiatives on the motherland, and educate people from all walks of life on the beauty, legacy, and opportunity of Africa's 54 nations. And it's that time once again when African Focus is teaming up with KBLA Talk 1580 for our 8th annual African Focus Trailblazers Tour. Travel with us in 2026 when we're headed to the Southern African nations of Zambia and Botswana for a historical, cultural, and vacation tour led by me, Dominique DePrima, Cultural Ambassador for African Focus Incorporated. Enjoy luxurious accommodations, conscious fellow travelers, shopping, adventures, cultural tours, wildlife safaris, and a giant waterfall, one of the world's 7 wonders, along with a chance to be of service at an orphanage on the continent. Become an AFI trailblazer by exploring the motherland with a nonprofit organization that has members in Africa and America to help roll out the red carpet for you, and together we'll make a difference and have fun doing it. For more information, visit africanfocus.org or call 310-676-7300. That's 310-676-7300 or africanfocus.org. Whether it's stateside or exploring the diaspora, we're with you every step of the way. African Focus and KBLA Talk 1580. Come go with us.
More honesty than you can handle. More empowerment than you can imagine. You're tuned in to Tavis Smiley.
For you, I'd give a lifetime of stability. Anything you want of me. Nothing is impossible for you. There are no words or ways to show my love or all the thoughts I'm thinking of. 'Cause this life is no good alone. Since we've become one, I've made a change. And everything I do now makes sense. All roads end, all I do is for you.
That's Kenny Lattimore. I'm Tavis Smiley, although I wish I could sing like Kenny Lattimore. I do have the honor of calling him a friend, and he is in studio right now with his real life TV judge wife, Faith Jenkins. Let that ride. It just sounds so good. I hate step. Turn it up.
Change all thoughts I have for you. There is no low or high or in between of my heart that you haven't seen.
I gotta start talking. I just love me some Kenny Lattimore. I laugh every time I hear this song, thinking about how many babies, how many weddings, how many babies have been made to this song. They have a baby of their own who just turned 3 last week. So congrats on that. I'm pleased to have Kenny Lattimore back in this studio. Kenny, how are you, my friend?
Thank you. I am doing fantastic. It's great to be here.
It's good to see you. Faith Jenkins, love you. How are you?
Thank you. Love you too. We're happy to be here.
Glad to have you here. I want to make the most of the few minutes that we have. I mentioned in our first hour that we are honored to have a number of celebs who are in our building today, some big names who are in this building to join with Faith and Kenny. In a big announcement with Ben Crump. So when Ben Crump shows up, you know somebody's in trouble. Let's just start with that. I will let Faith and Kenny tell us who's in trouble and why they are in trouble. But there are a number, again, of notables who are in our building today. They asked to use the space. I'm happy to do that. So I'm looking out the window in our conference room, and I see people starting to line up for this press conference happening here in L.A. today about the following. And the following, Faith Jenkins, is...
We are making a formal request now to the Federal Trade Commission and also to the California Attorney General to investigate what we believe are deceptive business practices taking place on some major social media platforms that are really impacting people's lives. As you know, we were here Tavis last year at the very beginning. I'll just go back for a second and give your listeners a quick background story. So last May, it was brought to our attention daily by family, friends, and then people, just strangers really online, that there were all of these stories about us that had dropped on YouTube. And we didn't, and normally we tell people, y'all ignore stuff, it's par for the course. When you're in the public eye, people talk about you, they can have opinions. But it was different this time because the chatter wouldn't go away, and the notes people were writing us and it wouldn't go away. So when we asked our legal assistant to look into it, she came back and said that there had been 35 long form YouTube videos about us, and that we were divorced, and that making up these really, vindictive stories.
Yeah, there was like a fabrication of even conversations
between
the two of us.
Right.
Kenny said this, and then this is Faith's response, and we have this, and we have this document. It was really
They said they had court
very
documents
detailed.
to prove it. So, and they said there had been judicial rulings. So, and all of the accounts, here's the key, they were all anonymous. No one knew who these people were or the sources.
But they're circulating on major platforms
Absolutely.
like YouTube, etc.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And to the point, Tavis, and this is what people need to understand, these folks drop this stuff in such big chunks in such a short period of time that Google's algorithm actually changed our status to divorced, linked these stories as the source, and had
like
us
they were journalists.
like they were real journalists. And I was like, wait a minute, you mean to tell me anonymous people can put stuff on the internet, and if they put enough of it in a short amount of time, they can actually change the truth
At the largest search engine in the world.
to a lie? Because they were all fake. I mean, they were all fake, and they were like 20-minute videos. All this stuff was made up. So I said, okay, let me find out what's going on, because I've been kind of seeing this stuff online, and I wonder how this works and how this happens. So
So we started to investigate and look at, this uncovering, and initially we contacted YouTube.
Yeah.
And we thought this is going to be something between you and us. YouTube, we got to come to the bottom of this. And YouTube was in a unique position of saying that they were not really responsible for the content that was put on there, but that we had to take up our issues with the actual content creators. So then we're like, okay, fine. But what was good was that they were able to say, well, we'll help you by letting you know who own these particular
because I was like,
accounts.
well, the content creators are ghosts. We don't know who they are.
Yeah. So they were like, okay, great. We will uncover who these people are. So that initially felt like, oh, that's good.
Well, because
that.
here's what people need to understand, Kenny. Because people think they're anonymous online, Tavis.
Yes.
And they think they're untouchable. And because of that anonymity, they're emboldened to say things that they wouldn't normally say.
Absolutely. Very true.
So I said, if we can pierce this anonymity veil, that alone will show people that there's accountability and there's some responsibility for what you say.
Right.
So YouTube said, send us a subpoena and we will reveal who the people are. And that's where we left off the last time we were on your show.
Okay.
We
and
talked
that
to
is
you
what
about
it took
this.
to a subpoena.
Yeah.
So you're still talking about going into the legal system and having to invest quite a bit, which most people are not able to or willing to.
Is it just YouTube, or are there other platforms as well?
Well, they spread them to, they started on YouTube because that's where people make their money.
Sure.
And people, well, what's the motivation? Why are you targeted?
Yeah.
It's money.
It's money, yeah.
They're monetized.
Yeah.
So it started on YouTube, and then they spread to other platforms just to get the story out there, So the last time we were here, we had sent the subpoena, and Google, who owns YouTube, said, we're going to send you the names of the people.
And they did.
And they
Absolutely.
did.
Okay.
And they did. And that is where everything sort of, it just opened Pandora's box as to what is really going on and why we've been out talking about this publicly, because people need to understand what is happening.
So do these folk that you now know that you know
Absolutely.
who they are?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Ben Crump is involved now. And Ben Crump's involvement is to do what? I mean, the obvious answer is Ben Crump's involvement is to make this a bigger story. When we come forward, I want to ask specifically what Ben Crump and you are announcing today. Why is Ben Crump now involved in this with Kenny and Faith and Judge Mathis and Stevie Wonder and other celebrities, Lonnie Love and others who are participating in this effort? What's Ben Crump? His role in this. We'll talk about that part with Faith Jenkins and Kenny Lattimore when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
From Leimert Park with love, this is Tavis Smiley.
And we're live here outside the Perez family home, just waiting for the... And there they go, almost on time this morning. Mom is coming out the front door strong with a double-arm kid carry. Looks like Dad has the bags. Daughter is bringing up the rear. Oh, but the diaper bag wasn't closed. Diapers and toys are everywhere. Ooh, but Mom has just nailed the perfect car seat buckle for the toddler. And now the eldest daughter, who looks to be about 9 or 10, has secured herself in the booster seat. Dad zips the bag closed, and they're off. But looks like Mom doesn't realize her coffee cup is still on the roof of the car. And there it goes. Oh, that's a shame. That mug was a fam favorite.
Don't sweat the small stuff. Just nail the big stuff. Like making sure your kids are buckled correctly in the right seat for their age and size. Learn more at nhtsa.gov/the right seat.
Visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat.
Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
What's up? What's up? What's up? We got to laugh the pain away.
Hey, KBLA delegation, happy Black History Month. Around here, we celebrate our culture, our community, and our contributions daily. But this year, as we observe the 100th anniversary of Black History Month celebrations, we're excited about our annual KBLA Talk 1580 Black History Month Luncheon, honoring comedy greats. On Thursday, February 26th at the Grammy Museum in downtown LA, we're toasting D.L. Hughley, Melanie Camacho, Earthquake, Munell, Dion Cole, and Martin Lawrence, with a surprise guest appearance. A limited number of individual tickets for the luncheon remain, so now would be a good time to head to KBLA1580.com to secure one for yourself. That's KBLA1580.com. A little laughter goes a long way, especially in times like these. So come, join us for our annual KBLA Talk 1580 Black History Month Luncheon, Thursday, February 26th at the Grammy Museum. Again, tickets are available right now at KBLA1580.com.
Well, I hang around my boy, and he's been married for 6 years. Videotaping his wedding day, never watched it. Now and every day he watch it every day, but he watch it in reverse. Because he said he loves seeing himself take that ring back off of that finger. Walking back down that aisle, just waving at her ugly mother down the church, getting back in the limo back at the bachelor party. Look how happy I was.
Honoring excellence, resilience, and achievement, we're at KBLA Talk 1580.
Are you drowning in IRS tax debt? Angela was. She called Civic Tax Relief and saved over $80,000. Felicia was having health problems, got behind on her taxes, interest and penalties were adding up. She called Civic Tax Relief and saved over $15,000. Civic Tax Relief is a professional tax negotiation firm that can protect you from the IRS. If you're getting collection letters, call Civic Tax Relief for a free consultation. They will go to work helping you discover all the relief programs you may qualify for free. James owed the IRS $37,000. Civic Tax Relief represented him against the IRS, and by the time everything was completed, he did not owe the IRS anything. If you are in trouble with the IRS, call Civic Tax Relief for your free consultation now. 800-200-2257. 800-200-2257. Get a free consultation and real tax relief. Call 800-200-2257. 800-200-2257.
Helping to make you the most knowledgeable person in your circle of friends. This is Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley, Faith Jenkins, you know her as TV judge. Faith Jenkins and her husband, Kenny Lattimore, the noted R&B crooner. They are in L.A. today for a major announcement. And for those who may have just tuned in, Faith, just top line again, what this announcement is today, what you're asking for with Ben Crump.
We're making a formal complaint with the California Attorney General and the Federal Trade Commission to investigate the enforcement business practices of platforms like YouTube that allow misinformation and defamation to be monetized at scale by foreign uploaders that leaves people like us with no legal remedy, but they monetize and they profit from it even after notice.
So tell me what that means. What is Ben Crump going to be demanding that the FTC do? Put another way, what are the demands being made of these social media platforms?
So the question is, are they engaged in deceptive business practices by allowing foreign uploaders, for example, to lie about their location. The reason why these people are able to make their misinformation go viral is because they are able to increase they do things to increase the credibility by saying they're based in the United States.
Right.
Their channels are based in the US.
Right.
Some of them pretend to be Black content creators. But would you believe a story about that someone had exclusive court documents about me and Kenny if you knew the man was based in Pakistan? No, you wouldn't. Because how would he have exclusive court documents about us, but nobody else in the U.S. does? Yeah. So because they're able to lie about their location being based in the U.S., they are able to get all kinds of benefits, the credibility benefits, monetization benefits. And when YouTube was put on notice by us, this is really important. YouTube told us we don't decide defamation, a court does. I said, okay, great. Give us the people. We'll take it to court. Well, it's disingenuous when you know that 99% of the people involved are located in India, Pakistan, Russia and
the part that trips me up, though, is, and I'm not naive in this, but what trips me up is that YouTube told you and Kenny, when you first went after them, subpoena us and we'll give you the names.
Yes.
To their credit, when you subpoenaed them, it took a subpoena, as Kenny said, but they did give you those names.
Yes.
So is YouTube basically saying that, we won't give you the names unless you subpoena us? Because in that case, everybody then has to subpoena YouTube.
Yes. That was the case. We had to send a legal document to pierce the veil of these anonymous accounts, by the way, that they allow. That's another thing. You allow anonymous, unverified reports from accounts to be escalated on Google, and their status be escalated as if these people are telling the truth.
Yes. But the fact that they initially told y'all you got to go after them.
Yes,
that's the part that's the disconnect.
Absolutely.
They told you first y'all got to go after them.
Yes.
But if you subpoena us, we'll tell you who they are.
Yes.
Which says to me you know who they are anyway.
Right.
Yeah. Well, it's there's so many channels. The volume on YouTube is tremendous. But when they found out who they were, Tavis, and I went back to them and said, okay, you said that our remedy was to go to court, right? Hold these people accountable in court. Well, we know now that 99% of them are not in the U.S. So now I'm looking to you. What are you going to do about it? Because when you look at these channels, this is what I want to point out to your viewers. 99% of their content, they target Black U.S. public figures with lies and misinformation.
Why us?
They want to break.
Why us? This is the 100th anniversary of Black History Month.
Let's talk about
Why
it.
are they coming? Hold that thought. When we come forward, we're celebrating on the one hand 100 years of Black History Month celebrations. You hear Faith and Kenny say, but the people they're going after happen to be Black celebs. Why are they targeting us? And my other question when we come forward is, can you go after somebody in Pakistan? How do you go after somebody in India? So you got to go after YouTube and the other platforms that are allowing this. We ain't going to Pakistan to sue somebody over there. Anyway, now you got me all worked up, and I'm not even in the press conference. Faith Jenkins and Kenny Lattimore, our guests. Our remaining words with them when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
Helping to stretch your moral and political imagination. This is Tavis Smiley.
You can't escape a traffic jam. Know what else you can't escape? Seasonal allergies. And you might think you can avoid that coffee stain until... Oh, really? You can't escape a lot of things in life, but you can escape prediabetes. Prediabetes captures 1 in 3 adults. There are usually no signs of prediabetes. In fact, most people don't even know they have it. But with early diagnosis, you can change the outcome and prevent or delay type 2 diabetes. Take action by taking the 1-minute risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org. You might not be able to escape having this song stuck in your head, but you can escape prediabetes. Go to doihaveprediabetes.org today. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention.
Lena Bloom for the Bail Project. Imagine you're stuck in a jail cell and you can't afford bail and someone offers you a way out. Just plead guilty and you can go home and kiss your kids goodnight. What do you do? What thousands have. You plead guilty whether you are or not. Cash bail makes poverty a crime. That's why the Bail Project helps those who can't afford it while fighting to end cash bail. Because freedom should be free.
Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Ready to order?
Yes.
We're earning unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with a Capital One Saver card, so let's just get one of everything.
Everything?
Fire everything. The Capital One Saver card is at table 27, and they're earning unlimited 3% cash back.
Yes, Chef! This is so nice.
Had a feeling you'd want 3% cash back on dessert.
Ooh, tiramisu.
Earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver card. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. LA County's new Justice Care and Opportunities Department, or JCOD, is here to support justice-involved individuals and their families. The JCOD Support Center is now taking calls at 1-833-LACJCOD. That's 1-833-522-5263. Available 7 days a week from 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. The Support Center is your one-stop shop for re-entry issues and court support. They offer court reminders, connections to local services, transportation assistance for housing, court appearances, and childcare. The JCOD hotline provides personalized help to connect you with services that you need. And don't forget to check out justiceconnect.org for more information. Remember, it's free and available every day at 1-833-522-5263. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Made fresh daily in the Mert Park, Los Angeles, California. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley, Faith Jenkins, and Kenny Lattimore. I've got 3 minutes left. I will yield it to them. My questions are, how do you sue somebody in another country, number one? And number two, this question of how we hold YouTube accountable. Faith and Kenny, take it away. 3 minutes, all yours.
Well, I know you wanted to talk about why black people are being targeted.
And I think a lot of that is because people don't think that folks are going to care. Mm-hmm. We're an easy target. Nobody's going to care. Historically, breaking up the black family, separating us, all of that has existed in the country and sometimes in the world. So you're talking about a system that people look at us and they go, oh, well, they're celebrity, or it doesn't matter. But this is something that spills over into families. Oh, yeah. We are human beings. We're people. And then it's not always about celebrity.
And impacts your livelihood.
It totally does. Eventually it does.
Messing with your money.
The pastors.
Yeah,
so many pastors are targeted on these platforms.
Yeah. And it seems like the ones that have the most integrity, it's most interesting to talk about whoever has the most integrity, tear them down, and they get clicks. So we as a community also have to be careful about the things that we support and the things that we click on.
See, it seems to me that because we are the epicenter of culture in this country and around the globe, on the one hand, it does make sense they'd be targeting black culture because we're the ones who create all this stuff, right? So if you're going to go after somebody and get clicks and downloads, might as well be black people. But that doesn't justify it. But I understand how it's all about tapping into that black culture.
But a lot of us, we don't feel like they don't feel like there's any consequence. And
there hasn't been any consequence
until now.
Yeah.
And we're generally not a people that is going to spend a bunch of money fighting and court and sue. The system seems big. It's not always been in our favor. So it seems like it's this huge monster that we have to conquer.
So many people have reached out to us that have been impacted. And that's why we decided, okay, too much is given, much is required. We have to do something because a lot of people don't have the resources. They don't know what to do. One woman contacted me. She said, we spent $10,000 on an attorney and all this investigation, he found out all these channels were foreign and he said there's nothing we can do. And our kids are hurt. Our kids are being impacted.
I got 60 seconds left here, Faith, right quick here. What would make you and Kenny happy as the end result of whatever's going to happen beyond today?
That YouTube would take responsibility in terms of not operating as a sword and giving people a platform and then a shield. You're essentially protecting them because there's a roadblock for us. It's the end of the road. We can't stop these. By the way, the foreign channels that posted all of this stuff, they're still operating. They're still monetizing. YouTube's still making money off of them. After giving notice, changed their names, did all this stuff. After YouTube has noticed that this is what they're they're doing. That is where the Federal Trade Commission and the California Attorney General come in.
Different names, same game,
Yes.
right? Until Ben Crump has his say, alongside Faith Jenkins, Kenny Lattimore, other celebs. You heard it here first on Tavis Smiley. I'm grateful to my friends Faith and Kenny for coming here to share with our audience first what they're about to do when they walk out of this studio. And by tomorrow, the whole world will see the press about this action that's being called for by attorney Ben Crump. Faith, Kenny, love you both. Good to have you in studio.
Thank you. Thanks
so
for having us.
More of Tavis Smiley when we come forward.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Tammy Eswick with BIN News Now. We start in Texas, where the State Board of Education is crafting a wish list of historical topics that will guide future social studies classes. But at issue is that Democrats want young children to learn about slavery in the United States. Republicans say it's not necessary. Here's Republican Julie Prickren.
There were a lot more people than Africans that were enslaved. I mean, we had white Europeans that were enslaved as indentured servants.
Just to clarify, indentured servitude and chattel slavery are not the same. Well, turning to Chicago, where Mayor Brandon Johnson is defending his order to investigate misconduct by federal agents. But he says he's not trying to tell Cook County State's Attorney Eileen O'Neill Burke how to handle investigations as she looks into the validity of his executive order. Finally, TMZ is reporting that Little John's son, DJ Youngslade, is missing in Georgia. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Escape the confines of the city for the expansive beauty of the Santa Ynez Valley with a short 2-hour drive up the coast. Let Chumash Casino Resort be your destination getaway. Welcome to freedom. Go to chumashcasino.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
There could be a weird atmosphere tonight at the Intuit Dome in Inglewood. The Clippers traded James Harden to the Cleveland Cavaliers Tuesday afternoon. The Cavs are in town to play the Clippers tonight. If Harden passes the mandatory physical, he could be in a Cleveland uniform to face his former team. Darius Garland, the player the Clippers got from Cleveland, is not expected to play tonight. He's been out since January 19th with an ankle injury. Kawhi Leonard was added as a reserve for the NBA All-Star game. Leonard is averaging 27.6 points and leads the league in steals and free throw percentage. The All-Star game is February 15th at the Intuit Dome. The Lakers finished their 8-game road trip Tuesday night with a 5-3 record. They beat Brooklyn 125-109. LeBron had 25 points, 7 assists, and 3 steals. Austin Reeves, playing his first game since Christmas, had 15 points in 21 minutes off the bench. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
They call it progress, but progress has a price. Land once held in black hands, taken, stolen, erased. Acres paved into highways, fields burned. Homes replaced by parking lots and broken promises. Every deed lost was a dream deferred. We talk about millionaires, but what about the millionaires that never were? The farmers whose soil was seized. The families who watched their inheritance disappear. The wealth that never had a chance to grow because its roots were ripped from the ground. They took the land, but never the legacy, because the soil remembers, and so do we. Every story matters. Our mission is to collect, preserve, and amplify these stories. If this is part of your family's history, visit blacklandlost.org/share your story and help bring us closer to justice.
I'm Tavis Smiley. We thank Faith Jenkins and Kenny Lattimore for coming in studio to give us this scoop, as it were, on the announcement they're about to make with Ben Crump, Stevie Wonder, Judge Mathis, a number of other celebs. trying to hold these social media platforms accountable for the lies that they allow anonymous sources to spread on their platforms. So we give big ups to Kenny and Faith for taking the lead on this, and for Ben Crump for getting involved in this case. And so we are welcoming them. Well, I'm not, because I'm on the air live right now, but they're all headed over to Leimert Park, and they're using our building for this press conference today, and we're delighted to allow them to use our space. So congratulations to Kenny and Faith in advance for just having the courage to fight these platforms over the disinformation, the misinformation. This ain't nothing new. We saw all this during the campaign, last couple campaigns for the White House. We saw Russia and others, China, using platforms, sending disinformation, and they always target it toward our community. They go after black culture, black celebrities. They spread disinformation, misinformation to our community. And so we are always the target. I'll let Dr. Malveaux respond to that in a moment here. Why 100 years later, here we are celebrating 100 years of black history, and we are still America's favorite target. Why is that? I'll start with Dr. Malveaux on that in just a second. After I tell you that we're doing two things in this hour. On the B side of this hour, a conversation with award-winning producer and best-selling author DeVon Franklin about his new autobiographical theatrical event, an Audible original called Be True: My Journey from Breakdown to Breakthrough. We'll talk to DeVon Franklin on the back side of this hour. But we commenced this hour, as I said, in conversation with economist, columnist, author, founder of the nonprofit Economic Education, and now the brains behind, the brilliance behind the new Malveaux Monitor, this new newsletter that I was reading just last night. I love the name of it, the Malveaux Monitor. That's what she does. She monitors stuff, looking out for our best interest. Julianne Malveaux, how are you?
I'm great, Tavis. How about you?
You know me. If I complained, I'd be an ingrate. I'm doing well, all things considered, and always delighted to be in conversation with you. Let me start with this, though. Tell me about this. First of all, congratulations on this new Malveaux Monitor. Tell me about this new newsletter.
Well, some of my young people like, Malveaux, you're not out there. You got to get out there. So they worked with me to get it out there. I have my usual column that appears in the black press, but lots of sidebars, always a lynching fact, or a lynch-adjacent fact, because, of course, I'm working on this book on lynching that's taking me forever, because it's really challenging to get my head around all the damage that was done to our people. It's really challenging when you look at some of the things. This brother in Mississippi, in this week's newsletter, as an example, he was encouraging people to register to vote. He's a World War II veteran. He owned a grocery store. They told him to shut up. He endured death threats. Finally, they shot him, and they said they shot him in the mouth. Okay, so there's a symbolism there. Keep your mouth shut, N-word. And then they said he died in an auto accident. And the then Mississippi governor said, the investigation was very thorough, even though there were several eyewitnesses that saw what happened. But this happens again and again and again, Tavis. You know I'm crazy anyway, so that's why I told my publisher, I said, I had to have been crazy to pick this up, because it really hits me in my soul. When you read about some of these lynchings, you just want to cry. But every newsletter has a lynching fact in it.
Yeah.
And it's one of my ways of making myself focus back on my book.
Yeah.
But this particular brother, George Little was his name, I mean, just killed him, because he was part of he was encouraging people to register to vote. He would even pay your poll tax, Tavis. You couldn't pay your poll tax. He'd pay it for you. He was a threat to white supremacy.
Yeah.
Frankly, just like Don Lemon and the sister in Minneapolis are a threat, because they were reporting. But nobody wants to hear the report. People don't want to hear the facts.
Yeah. You said a lot there. Let me start with this. I teed this up a moment ago. Here we are, as you well know, in the month of February, and we've arrived at that point where we are now celebrating 100 years of these Negro History Week, Black History Month celebrations. 100 years now we've been doing this, starting, of course, with Carter G. Woodson. But here we are 100 years later, and we just talked to Kenny Lattimore and Faith Jenkins about an announcement they're making with Ben Crump here momentarily about YouTube and other platforms that continue to allow disinformation and misinformation to be spread on their platforms, even though they know they're coming from foreign countries, anonymous sources, and folk are being hurt. Their livelihood is being affected and impacted by these lies that are being told about them. And so how do you hold these platforms accountable? But the point here is that black people 100 years ago and still now are being targeted. For all that we've done to make this country what it is, I quote Du Bois once again, would America have been America without her Negro people? But for all we've done, black people, for whatever reason, and Malveaux underscores this now with the story she just shared, are still being targeted. No naivete here, but why are black folk, all these years later, still being targeted? We'll let her unpack on that and a great deal more when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
From California to the Carolinas, everybody's listening to Tavis. More when we come forward.
Hi, I'm Tavis Smiley. The tools to hold a meaningful conversation should not be reserved just for a privileged few. It is a skill our world desperately needs in every community, at every table. So I'm pleased to announce the Founding Members Scholarship Program for my online course, The Art of Conversation, in 4 different categories. The Community Builder, for those who serve others, the Rising Voice for emerging communicators, the Bridge Builder for underrepresented perspectives, and the Determined Scholar for those facing financial hardship. If finances are the only barrier between you and this training, well, let's hurdle that barrier. We're accepting applications right now at TavisTalks.com. That's TavisTalks.com. The priority deadline is February the 10th. So visit TavisTalks.com right now and let's build this table together.
Wouldn't it be great if life came with a remote control? You know, you could hit pause when you needed to, or hit rewind. Like that time you knocked down that wasp's nest.
Uh-oh.
Or that time you forgot to roll up your windows in the car wash.
Fantastic.
Yeah, a remote control would have come in handy then. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes like managing your weight, getting active, stopping smoking, and eating healthier, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. It's easy to learn your risk. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Life doesn't come with a remote control. Yikes! So you're on your own with the wasps. You have the power to take control of prediabetes. Visit doihaveprediabetes.org today. That's doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
The holidays mean more travel, more shopping, more time online, and more personal info in more places that could expose you more to identity theft. But LifeLock monitors millions of data points per second. If your identity is stolen, our US-based restoration specialists will fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Don't face drained accounts, fraudulent loans, or financial losses alone. Get more holiday fun and less holiday worry with LifeLock. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS. Visit lifelock.com. Terms apply.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Saline from Vicks.
Sinex Saline nasal spray?
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Saline instantly clears everyday congestion associated with colds and year-round allergies with a gentle, ultra-fine mist that's no mess and easy to control.
Daddy, we need more balloons.
On it.
Enjoy life's important moments without congestion. Try Sinex Saline from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
Let's get back to more of this rich dialogue with Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley and Dr. Julianne Malveaux. So, Julianne, you shared an arresting and poignant story a moment ago about the journey that we have been on and remain on in this country, even in the era of Donald Trump, where black folk are being targeted every day with an anti-black agenda by this administration, anti-DE&I, immigration, so-called immigration enforcement. Don't get me started. Countries that are on the list of don't admit into the U.S. The Somali community under attack in Minnesota. All these black women, from Lisa Cook to Ilhan Omar to a long list of African Letitia James, all the black women I could name that Donald Trump has gone after personally, Fonnie Willis. Again, I could do this for hours if I had the time. I don't need to with you. You take my point. That here we are, again, 100 years later, celebrating black history, and black folk are being as targeted now, politically, economically, socially, and culturally, as we ever have. So have we really made that much progress, Malveaux?
We've made some and we haven't made some. Understand this, and I know you do. We have always been targeted. Targeting black people is at the foundation of the building of this country. That's why I refuse to call it the blank house. I call it the house that enslaved people built. That's what that house that man lives in. And that's important in the context of 100 years, Tavis, because Gerald Ford was the first president to do the official proclamation of Black History Month in 1976. We were celebrating then the centennial. He got a lot of pushback from some internal Republicans, said you can't do this without acknowledging the contradictions. Well, he never acknowledged the contradictions, but what he did was had a proclamation and a celebration at the house that enslaved people built. Now, fast forward 50 years. We have a buffoon who cannot read, who lives in a house that enslaved people built. This year, so far, today is February 4th, so far he has not issued a proclamation. Usually the proclamation happens at the beginning of the month. He has not issued one. But again, he's DEI, anti-DEI. So why would he issue a proclamation celebrating Black History Month? He's taken our names off ships, off national parks, so why not? But back to the targeting. Be real clear. We've always been targeted. And so enslaving led to lynching, to Jim Crow, mass incarceration, to surveillance and economic punishment. And this is woven into the way this country works. They don't have to lynch you with a rope anymore, Tavis. They can lynch you. As far as I'm concerned, these sisters who you mentioned, they have had to go into enormous financial challenge to rebut this crap. Now, none of them are wealthy people, but they've got to take out loans, go through a GoFundMe or whatever. That's not lynching. It's not a rope around your neck, but it is a deterrent. Look at, Don Lemon and the sister Jordan Ford in Minneapolis. Now, Don Lemon's going to be okay. I ain't worried about him. He has enough money to pay for his legal defense. Well, other sister's an independent journalist. And what signal does that send to other independent journalists?
Yeah.
And we're constantly getting signals. Stay in your place, N-word. The lynching was not even about lynching. It was about the establishment of lynching culture to basically intimidate folks into being quiet, to intimidate folks into being invisible. Because what threatens white supremacy more than anything else is visible black people. When black people speak freely, when we gain wealth, we challenge institutions, we document state abuse, we organize politically, there's always a punitive backlash. And it might not come tomorrow, but it's coming. We see it coming, and we see how it also affects our young people.
Yeah. I'm thinking as you're talking, and I want to get your take on this. I'm trying to juxtapose in my own mind, and I hadn't really thought about this in this way until now. Here we are in 2026, celebrating the 100th anniversary of these Black History Month celebrations on the one hand. And on the other hand, we are later this year going to celebrate, putting that word in air quotes, radio, you can't see me, the 250th anniversary of the Republic. You see where I'm going here, Malveaux? 100 years of celebrating Black history every year. 250 years since the establishment of the Republic. I was asked some weeks ago, and I had to regret I just didn't have the time to do it. But actually a few months ago, there's a book coming out later this year, and I won't jump ahead of it because the book will come out. When it comes out, I'll have the authors of the book on this program, I am certain. But two notables, I can give you their names. Ibram Kendi and Angela Rye are two persons we all know. They are curating a book that a number of African-American notables will have their say in about how we see this 250th anniversary. So they asked me to contribute one of the essays, and I regret it. I just didn't have the time to give the essay the attention that I wanted to give it, to put my name on it, to be in a book. But I saw the list of other African-American notables who are going to be writing in this book when it comes out later this year about how we see this republic 250 years later. But again, I'm juxtaposing 100 years of celebrating Black history in February in the same year that we celebrate 250 years of the Republic. Why does that matter to me? Because I'm talking to one of the most noted black economists in the world. And so my question is simply this, Malveaux. I raised this in conversation with Dietrich Asante Muhammad of the Joint Center earlier this week, but not in this exact context. So think 100 years of black history. Think 250 years of the Republic. And as you know, black folk still lag far behind in every single leading economic indicator category. I'll say it again. We lag far behind in every single leading economic indicator category 250 years later. I ain't got to say any more than that, Malveaux. Take it and run with it.
We can start with 1619. We don't have to start with, we can start with 1619. We can talk about the pivotal way that black people have created this country. Let me repeat that, created this country. A creation that is very rarely acknowledged. I mean, even the way that the majority community celebrates Black History Month is very kind of condescending. Well, we have this famous Negro here. We have a famous Negro there. This is the first Negro who did X. That does not get to the complexity of the ways we live and the ways we have lived and the damage that these people had to do, were forced to do from the perspective of because they want to maintain their supremacy. So white supremacy is an itch. When you think about some of it, I mean, some of it, it would be funny if it wasn't so pitiful. Like there was a psychiatrist back in the 1850s, and he created a mental illness called something like dystopia. I don't have it right. It begins with a D. And guess what it is, Tavis?
Mm-hmm.
People who want to run away.
Mm-hmm.
That's supposed to be a mental illness.
Mm-hmm.
So he treated several enslaved people for wanting to run away. Now, who wouldn't want to run away? But they're really woven in a tapestry of our inferiority and their superiority. A tapestry of it. And the lynching culture is what it created. So 100 years of the official celebration of Black history, some of our folks celebrated it before Carter G. Woodson, created the Negro History Week.
Mm-hmm.
And always in the oral tradition of black communities, I know your mama told you about some of your foremothers and fathers and what they had done.
Mm-hmm.
How did Tavis get to be such a badass? Excuse me for cussing on your radio, but I cuss. But how did you get to be you? And there's some Tavis antecedent who basically sold into you. Just like me, my mom would tell me the stories, and I was forced to live in Mississippi for a year for untoward behavior, where I learned about some of my antecedents and learned about how education was such a core value in my family. So, we did Black history, but we didn't have the month or the week until we had that oral history, which is so precious to us. So when you ask 250, they're celebrating 250 years of exploitation.
Mm.
We're celebrating 100 years of resilience.
Mm. Nicely put. Nicely put. I want to circle back to the point you made earlier about this book that you are struggling to write. Now, I've known Malveaux for 30 years of my life. We've done all kinds of projects together, traveled the world together, went to Africa together. We've done a lot of stuff together. And I've never heard her confess publicly that she's having difficulty wrapping her brain around a book. I thought I heard you say that part of it is because of the damage that's been done. Tell me more about the book that you're writing and why you're struggling to get it done, born of that damage that's been done that you referenced earlier. I just need you to unpack that for me.
Well, the working title of the book is Lynching Culture, the Wealth Gap, and Reparation. It's a direct line between lynching culture, not lynching itself, but lynching culture. It was a culture. The culture was you could do whatever you want to a black person. You didn't need the rope. You could have an economic boycott. I think about our sister Maggie Lena Walker in Richmond, Virginia, where white folks with economic boycotts closed down her department store, first one owned by a black woman in this country. And it's just so much, Tavis. And so I'm trying to, at some point, kind of funnel it down. And this book has been written 20 times. Mm-hmm. There are more than 1,000 pages of notes up in my office. But I have to stop reading and do more writing. I have to drill it down, and it's just really challenging. And then sometimes when I went down to Brian Stevenson's place in Montgomery, I went down there for 3 days to do research, and one day I just cried. I went there to that place, and I just sat on a little bench and cried. The damage that has been done to our people is overwhelming. And it's also depressing because it's so ignored. Our Jewish brothers and sisters will never forget the Holocaust, but many people made it sure that we would forget lynching and lynching culture. So you would go to places, there was a lynching. The brilliant brother, I just adore him for the work he's done. But the fact is that people don't know about a lot of this. I wrote a piece, it had to be 10 years ago for an ACLU magazine about basically economic envy. Because when white people couldn't stand for us to have anything, they took it. They just took it. And the young man who was the editorial assistant called me up and he said, Dr. Malveaux, I can't verify any of these facts. What were the facts? Tulsa, Oklahoma, Wilmington, North Carolina, and Ida B. Wells and Memphis, Tennessee. He said he couldn't. He had an undergrad degree from Harvard. So, obviously they don't teach that at Harvard. So they had me send them links to my facts, and I was profoundly offended. You can imagine what all I had to say. None of it quite pleasant. And so the boy's boss called me and said, "Well, why did you cuss him out?" I said, "I didn't quite cuss him out. I just called him ignorant." I said I didn't use any expletives in front of it, and I sent him the links. I said, "Why didn't you learn this at Harvard?" And there was no answer. But so there has been a level of erasure. The brother who there's a white guy who wrote a book about Rosewood, and Rosewood was a lie. White woman said she was raped. Actually, her white lover, tooted her up, and they said it was a black man. They burned a whole black community behind that. A black woman observed a white man leaving, but she was afraid to tell it. She was afraid to tell it. Her great nephew, eventually, after years, she had died, showed the documentation. There's a book about it. But we were afraid to speak. And it's not that we were afraid as we were cowed into submission and silence. That's our very presence is resented.
Yeah.
And so I'm just, if I have 1,000 pages of notes, guess what? I have a book.
Yeah, I got you.
So but why is it not coming out the way I want it to come out? And part of it is it's emotionally draining to look at some of this stuff.
No, I can see that. I've been there. Sometimes it's hard to put this stuff on paper because you got to get out of your head and your heart is just debilitated by the facts that you are confronted with. I've got just 2 minutes left for a quick 2 minutes rather, for you to just respond to this one question. You've been writing about this, the ways in which you see Donald Trump and his attack on education as really an attack on women.
Oh, it absolutely. Education is a bridge through which people find some freedom, some measure of freedom. Not enough, but some. Black women in particular were able to escape being maids and to be tobacco workers by going to school. Black families sent their daughters to schools like Bennett and Spelman and Tougaloo and Tuskegee so that they wouldn't have to work in a white man's kitchen and be subject to rape. Attacking education attacks us at our core. And Tavis, is already, the Department of Education is at half the budget it used to have. Young people, I know you've heard from them because I just heard you talk about your scholarship fund. Young people are student loan applications moving very slowly. I'm intimately familiar with this as a former president of college. College presidents can't give people tuition because we're also audited by the federal government. If you carry so many loans on your books and it exceeds a certain ratio, you could be prevented from offering student loans to other students.
Yeah.
So we're stuck between a rock and a hard place, and everything that this man has done has eroded educational access. And for women, it's far more acute. We earn less. We carry more student loan debt. And, but J.D. Vance and his minions believe that restricting educational access will allow more people to have children.
No.
I mean, isn't that perverse?
It's absurd. It's absurd. You can't even connect those dots, and I'm not even going to try. I wish there were more like her, and by that I mean I wish there were more brilliant black economists. There are some, and we've unearthed them, and we bring them to you as often as we can. My thing is, there's no area of expertise in the world that there isn't some black expert in that space. I just wish there were more African-American economists, but I can always count on her. Economist, a professor, founder of the nonprofit Economic Education, now out with the new Malveaux Monitor newsletter. Google it and sign up for it, the Malveaux Monitor newsletter. And she mentioned, of course, being a former college president. She is, of course, the president emerita of Bennett College for Women. Malveaux, thanks for your insights. As always, I'll talk to you soon.
Absolutely. Thank you, Tavis.
Thanks for your time. More of Tavis Smiley when we come forward.
This is getting good. Yeah, man. Tavis Smiley continues when we come forward.
They call it progress, but progress has a price. Land once held in black hands, taken, stolen, erased. Acres paved into highways, fields burned. Homes replaced by parking lots and broken promises. Every deed lost was a dream deferred. We talk about millionaires, but what about the millionaires that never were? The farmers whose soil was seized, the families who watched their inheritance disappear, the wealth that never had a chance to grow because its roots were ripped from the ground. They took the land, but never the legacy, because the soil remembers, and so do we. Every story matters. Our mission is to collect, preserve, and amplify these stories. If this is part of your family's history, visit blacklandlost.org/share your story and help bring us closer to justice.
I'm Tammy Eswick with BIN News Now. We start in Texas, where the State Board of Education is crafting a wish list of historical topics that will guide future social studies classes. But at issue is that Democrats want young children to learn about slavery in the United States. Republicans say it's not necessary. Here's Republican Julie Prickren.
There were a lot more people than Africans that were enslaved. I mean, we had white Europeans that were enslaved as indentured servants.
Just to clarify, indentured servitude and chattel slavery are not the same. Well, turning to Chicago, where Mayor Brandon Johnson is defending his order to investigate misconduct by federal agents. But he says he's not trying to tell Cook County State's Attorney Eileen O'Neill Burke how to handle investigations as she looks into the validity of his executive order. Finally, TMZ is reporting that Little John's son, DJ Youngslade, is missing in Georgia. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Escape the confines of the city for the expansive beauty of the Santa Ynez Valley with a short 2-hour drive up the coast. Let Chumash Casino Resort be your destination getaway. Welcome to freedom. Go to chumashcasino.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Celebrate the red, white, and blue, plus save a lot of green. It's the Big O Tires President's Day sale. Now purchase 3 select Big O brand tires, get the 4th tire free with paid installation. By George, that's right. A free tire when you buy 3. The President's Day sale now through February 22nd at Big O Tires.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
There could be a weird atmosphere tonight at the Intuit Dome in Inglewood. The Clippers traded James Harden to the Cleveland Cavaliers Tuesday afternoon. The Cavs are in town to play the Clippers tonight. If Harden passes the mandatory physical, he could be in a Cleveland uniform to face his former team. Darius Garland, the player the Clippers got from Cleveland, is not expected to play tonight. He's been out since January 19th with an ankle injury. Kawhi Leonard was added as a reserve for the NBA All-Star Game. Leonard is averaging 27.6 points and leads the league in steals and free throw percentage. The All-Star Game is February 15th at the Intuit Dome. The Lakers finished their 8-game road trip Tuesday night with a 5-3 record. They beat Brooklyn 125-109. LeBron had 25 points, 7 assists, and 3 steals. Austin Reeves, playing his first game since Christmas, had 15 points in 21 minutes off the bench. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
Hi, I'm Zoe Williams, a.k.a. the voice of reason, encouraging you to join me weekdays from 7 to 9 p.m. for the world's most intriguing relationship radio roundtable. Every night, I facilitate and encourage our loyal listeners to participate in the most engaging relationship discussions you'll hear anywhere. So make it a point to rendezvous with me, Zoe Williams, the voice of reason, Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Trust me, your relationships will never be the same. The VOR is on fire tonight.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with the world. African Focus Incorporated is a community-based organization whose mission is to bring Africans and African Americans together, lead charitable initiatives on the motherland, and educate people from all walks of life on the beauty, legacy, and opportunity of Africa's 54 nations. And it's that time once again when African Focus is teaming up with KBLA Talk 1580 for our 8th annual African Focus Trailblazers Tour. Travel with us in 2026 when we're headed to the southern African nations of Zambia and Botswana for a historical, cultural, and vacation tour led by me, Dominique DePrima, Cultural Ambassador for African Focus Incorporated. Enjoy luxurious accommodations, conscious fellow travelers, shopping, adventures, cultural tours, wildlife safaris, and a giant waterfall, one of the world's 7 wonders, along with a chance to be of service at an orphanage on the continent. Become an AFI trailblazer by exploring the motherland with a nonprofit organization that has members in Africa and America to help roll out the red carpet for you, and together we'll make a difference and have fun doing it. For more information, visit africanfocus.org or call 310-676-7300. That's 310-676-7300 or africanfocus.org. Whether it's stateside or exploring the diaspora, we're with you every step of the way. African Focus and KBLA Talk 1580. Come go with us.
Sometimes he fails at fitting in, but we're okay with that. You're inside the Tavis Smiley Show.
Song says like this. 'Tis so sweet to trust in Jesus, just to take Him at His word, just to rest upon His promise, just to know thus saith the Lord. Let me sing it one more time. 'Tis so sweet to trust in Jesus. Anybody know about trusting in Him? Just to take Him at His word, just to rest upon His promise, just to know the said the Lord.
I'm playing that song for a number of reasons. One, because I just love it, and it's my show, and I can do stuff I love every now and again. That arrogance aside, I'm playing it because it is one of my favorite songs of all time. I get goosebumps thinking about singing that song in my little Pentecostal church growing up in the Midwest. But I'm also playing it because a little birdie told me that there's a movie coming out later this year called 'Tis So Sweet. And the producer of that film is our guest. Now, his name is DeVon Franklin. You all know him. We'll talk in a moment about his award-winning, he is an award-winning producer, I should say, best-selling author. We're talking in a moment about his new autobiographical theatrical event and Audible original called Be True, My Journey from Breakdown to Breakthrough. We'll talk about that in just a second here. But I wanted to just to start with that song because, again, I know, courtesy of Taraji P. Henson, courtesy of my dear friend Tasha Smith, who directs this movie. This film is coming out later this year. And any movie called "'Tis So Sweet," I'm anxious to see. So, DeVon Franklin, good to have you on this program. Say a word about your film coming later this year.
Tavis, thanks so much for having me. I'm grateful to be here too. And yeah, I'm excited about "'Tis So Sweet." It is based upon a true story of a woman named Lenore Lindsay, who opened a bakery in Chicago, quit her job of 27 years, opened a bakery in Chicago on faith. And it opened up a number of miracles in her life. And Taraji P. Henson plays Lenore. And we have Anjanou Ellis Taylor, who's also in the film, and both of them are Academy Award nominees. We have Russell Hornsby in the film. As
Love
you
Russell.
mentioned, Tasha
Yeah.
Smith directed it.
Yep.
And it's oh my goodness, let me tell you, it's amazing.
Yeah.
It is just an incredible true story. And you'll see, Taraji in the film sing "'Tis So Sweet."
Oh,
So
yeah.
it's going to be the holiday event of the year, I believe.
Yeah, there's so many great versions of that. That's Dorinda Clark Cole, the one we played. I love the one with all the Winans family. They take turns singing.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I've seen that one. I've seen it, man.
Yeah.
You can't. Come on now.
No, it's
Come on.
an
That
amazing.
one you can't mess with.
No, I
That's
love
amazing.
the Winans. One at a time, they come up to the podium. It starts with Marvin, and the mama comes up, and Cece comes up.
Yep.
And they take the mic one at a time. You should Google that if
That's
you want
right.
some encouragement today. Just Google the Winans singing "'Tis So Sweet to Trust in Jesus." Let me just ask you very quickly here, why and how you have been drawn in your career to producing, I would call these faith films.
And because I feel like that's just what I'm here to do. It's the reason why I'm in entertainment. And I think it goes back to I lost my father when I was 9 years old. He died of a heart attack when he was 36. And, my mother didn't have, money for me and my two brothers to go to therapy. So my therapy became going to church and watching movies. And there was something about that combination that was very healing for me. And that was really the catalyst for me to make the decision to go to Hollywood and, want to do it, because I believe it's one of the most influential mediums in the world, and have always wanted to be a part of it, to do something good. The same way it helped me, I believed that it would help others. So that was really the motivation.
Yeah, no, I love it. I can't imagine losing my father at 36. I just lost my dad just a year and a half or so ago.
Oh, wow.
But I can't
Sorry
imagine.
about
No, yeah, I feel the same for you, man. I can't imagine having to navigate my life from the age of 9 forward without my dad. So your mom did a great job, DeVon Franklin. She did a great job with you and your,
Thank you.
you and your brother.
Thank you. She sure did, man. I give my mom a lot of credit. Today's actually her birthday. So,
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, today is the day to give mom a lot of credit.
I didn't even know that. That's a beautiful thing. We're celebrating DeVon Franklin's mother. Shout your mama's name out. Let's call her name. Call her name.
Paulette Franklin. Happy birthday.
Happy
Paulette
birthday
Franklin,
to
my
Paulette
mama.
Franklin. I love it. All right. So I wanted you on. We invited you on to talk about this new, this autobiographical theatrical event and Audible original called "Be True: My Journey from Breakdown to Breakthrough." Break it down for me, DeVon Franklin.
This is an audiobook that I just released on Audible, and I'm just so excited for everyone to listen to it. It's an audio recording of my one-man show that I did in New York last summer. And it was a great experience, and it was a unique experience to be able to write, produce, direct, and perform. Somewhat like, as you mentioned in the intro, an autobiographical story. My journey from divorce to remarriage, and really being able to articulate and dramatize my takeaways and what I learned about myself, and how I was able to put my life back together. And when you go on Audible and you listen to Be True, you get a chance to experience the one-man show as if you're there. And people came and they laughed, they clapped, they cried, and it's really an emotional and yet entertaining journey that I feel like will be very, very healing for all who listen.
Unpack those two words for me. Those are two powerful words. They're two strong words not to be played with. So obviously you chose it very carefully, but just unpack those two words for me, DeVon. Be true.
Yeah, I mean, be is the action, and true is the noun. And I think that sometimes we aren't true. One, because we don't take the time to just stop and listen to whatever is true for us in that moment. What's really true for me, and stopping and listening to it without judging it. Because sometimes you can have a true revelation that you're like, okay, you know what? I'm actually someone who really is has a short temper. That's okay. Nothing wrong with but before you can change it, you got to acknowledge it. So being true is about, the action is become it, be it, embody your truth consistently. And then fearfully, because sometimes our truth will put us at odds with the very people that care about us the most, because they have a different version of our life. Yeah. They only can see us through one lens. They don't see us in any other way. So sometimes when we say something that's true, or we are true, it can be a very provocative thing to do. But I do believe that the path of truth is the path of freedom, and that's the path of peace for each of us to follow.
Yeah. When we come forward, DeVon Franklin, I know I'm not the only one who understands this or who believes this, and that is that being true isn't always easy to do. It's not easy to be true. It's all the more difficult, it seems, for some people to be true in public spaces. And that's the part I want to talk to DeVon Franklin about, how one can be true in public spaces. He's a public personality, and this is autobiographical. It's a theatrical event, now an Audible original. So we'll talk about being true, but how one does that in public spaces. You're listening to DeVon Franklin on Tavis Smiley.
Generous listening.
Charitable listening.
It's why everybody wants to talk to Tavis. The conversation continues when we come forward.
And we're live here outside the Perez family home, just waiting for and there they go. Almost on time this morning. Mom is coming out the front door strong with a double-arm kid carry. Looks like Dad has the bags. Daughter is bringing up the rear. Oh, but the diaper bag wasn't closed. Diapers and toys are everywhere. Ooh, but Mom has just nailed the perfect car seat buckle for the toddler. And now the eldest daughter, who looks to be about 9 or 10, has secured herself in the booster seat. Dad zips the bag closed, and they're off. But looks like Mom doesn't realize her coffee cup is still on the roof of the car. And there it goes. Oh, that's a shame. That mug was a fam favorite.
Don't sweat the small stuff. Just nail the big stuff. Like making sure your kids are buckled correctly in the right seat for their age and size. Learn more at nhtsa.gov/the right seat.
Visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat.
Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
What's up? What's up? What's up? We got to laugh the pain away.
Hey, KBLA delegation, happy Black History Month. Around here, we celebrate our culture, our community, and our contributions daily. But this year, as we observe the 100th anniversary of Black History Month celebrations, we're excited about our annual KBLA Talk 1580 Black History Month Luncheon, honoring comedy greats. On Thursday, February 26th at the Grammy Museum in downtown LA, we're toasting D.L. Hughley, Melanie Camacho, Earthquake, Munell, Dion Cole, and Martin Lawrence, with a surprise guest appearance. A limited number of individual tickets for the luncheon remain, so now would be a good time to head to KBLA1580.com to secure one for yourself. That's KBLA1580.com. A little laughter goes a long way, especially in times like these. So come, join us for our annual KBLA Talk 1580 Black History Month Luncheon, Thursday, February 26th at the Grammy Museum. Again, tickets are available right now at KBLA1580.com.
Well, I hang around my boy. He's been married for 6 years. Videotaping his wedding day, never watched it. Now and every day he watch it every day, but he watch it in reverse. Because he said he loves seeing himself take that ring back off of that finger. Walking back down that aisle, just waving at her, ugly mother down the church, getting back in the limo, back at the bachelor party. Look how happy I was.
Honoring excellence, resilience, and achievement, we're KBLA Talk 1580.
Are you drowning in IRS tax debt? Angela was. She called Civic Tax Relief and saved over $80,000. Felicia was having health problems, got behind on her taxes, interest and penalties were adding up. She called Civic Tax Relief and saved over $15,000. Civic Tax Relief is a professional tax negotiation firm that can protect you from the IRS. If you're getting collection letters, call Civic Tax Relief for a free consultation. They will go to work helping you discover all the relief programs you may qualify for free. James owed the IRS $37,000. Civic Tax Relief represented him against the IRS, and by the time everything was completed, he did not owe the IRS anything. If you are in trouble with the IRS, call Civic Tax Relief for your free consultation now. 800-200-2257. 800-200-2257. Get a free consultation and real tax relief. Call 800-200-2257. 800-200-2257.
Freedom is an endless meeting. So let's get back to it with Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley and DeVon Franklin, award-winning producer, best-selling author, out with a new autobiographical theatrical event that is now an Audible original. It's called Be True, My Journey from Breakdown to Breakthrough. You went there, DeVon, so I want to follow you, which is my way. Being true is not easy for a lot of us. But it seems to me that it's more difficult for some to do that in public spaces. I'll frame it that way. Take it as you will, sir.
You know, here's the thing. How do I put it in context? Me just pursuing my career in Hollywood organically put me in a place where I ended up with a life that wasn't just in the private, but also in the public.
Mm-hmm.
So that was just a byproduct of me living, you know, how I was living in Hollywood, and at the time, you know, getting married, and that was just the profile of my life. And so when I went through a divorce, I didn't have the option of not doing it publicly. So then once I came out of that, you know, I had a decision to make. You know, am I going to just go on about my life and live and learn and never tell anybody what I've learned? Or do I feel like I have an obligation because of my place in the public to share what I learned along the way? And so for me, going from divorce, being single again, getting engaged, being married now again, you know, part of Be True was me to say, you know, I've learned some things along the way. And I don't get the luxury of just now going back into my private cubbyhole and keeping those things. Mm-hmm. And so I wanted to, you know, say, okay, you know what, let me be public about it. Let me do it in a classy way, in a creative way, but let me articulate what I've learned for anyone who has ears to hear, and hopefully for anyone who is looking to change in their own life. And so that's why it's not easy. I mean, for sure it wasn't easy, but you know, I feel like I kind of owed it to, you know, those that have been rocking with me for years, and just also my calling. I feel called that I'm not just here for myself. I'm here to do what I can to help as many people as I can. And if that means sharing, you know, stories from my life, I'm here for it.
We've established in this brief conversation that being true is a challenge for all of us, being our authentic selves. We've talked about what it means to do that in Hollywood. We've talked about what it means to do that in public spaces versus private spaces. And when we come forward in our remaining moments with DeVon Franklin, I want to ask him to put this notion of being true in the context of being a black man. Ooh, if I had the time, I could work this thing a bunch of different ways if I had the time. But we'll let DeVon opine on that when we come forward about being true as an African-American male in these United States right about now. I think you see where I'm going. You're listening to DeVon Franklin on Tavis Smiley.
Why does Tavis say when we come forward? Because he's not going back. And you don't have to go back either. Forward ever, backward never. More of Tavis Smiley when we come forward. Forward.
You can't escape a traffic jam. Know what else you can't escape? Seasonal allergies. And you might think you can avoid that coffee stain until... Oh, really? You can't escape a lot of things in life, but you can escape prediabetes. Prediabetes captures 1 in 3 adults. There are usually no signs of prediabetes. In fact, most people don't even know they have it. But with early diagnosis, you can change the outcome and prevent or delay type 2 diabetes. Take action by taking the 1-minute risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org. You might not be able to escape having this song stuck in your head, but you can escape prediabetes. Go to doihaveprediabetes.org today. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. If you need help getting your resume in order, finding job training, or landing a job, we've got 3 great options for you. First, the City of Los Angeles has worksource centers across the area offering free job support. The California Workforce Development Board can help you with everything from GED prep to vocational training at no cost to you. On the federal level, the Department of Labor's American Job Centers offer a full range of services for job seekers and businesses alike. Visit careeronestop.org, or for more info, just call California's Help Center or visit cwdb.ca.gov or call 916-657-1440. For the City of Los Angeles programs, go to ewd.lacity.gov or call 213-744-7300. All these services are free to help you get your next job. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Sometimes he fails at fitting in, but we're okay with that. You're inside the Tavis Smiley Show.
You are indeed for 3 or 4 minutes left here with DeVon Franklin, award-winning producer, best-selling author, talking we have been about his autobiographical theatrical event that is now an Audible original. It's called Be True, My Journey from Breakdown to Breakthrough. There'll be many people that will hear this Audible original, DeVon, and they will have their own takeaways. But I wonder if you might just say a word briefly about what it means to be true when you embody a black male body.
Yeah, what it means to be true is it means to be authentic. It means to be expressive. And what I mean by that is, you know, this story, this Be True performance that is on Audible, it is me as a black man taking time to assess my steps. Where have I come from? How did I get here? What have I learned along the way? And doing it in the form of a one-man show, which is basically, you know, a play starring one person, it was my way to express my feelings and my thoughts. And I think that as a black man, this is so important. We have to take ownership of our story, and we have to have the courage to express how we feel. And so often in our culture, in our community, you know, as black men, we are not raised to do that. We're not raised to be expressive. We're taught to, in some ways, not feel. And what I have learned in my experience is that when we feel, we heal. And the healing is directly related to the feeling. And part of that feeling and healing is expressing.
Yeah.
And I want to, you know, use Be True as a model for here's how we as black men can speak our truth without tearing anybody down, without being negative, without, you know, doing anything that is really going to disrupt anyone else other than, hey, here's my truth and here's how I'm processing and what I'm learning. And I'm very proud of the book, and I'm proud of the takeaways that I discovered about myself and the difference between being a good boy and a grown man. And, you know, talking about overcoming my addiction to perfectionism and achievement, and learning what it means to be true, even if it's not always perfect and it's not always pretty. So these are all the things that I've learned, and I think these are some of the things that, as a black man, I think are important.
Yep. I got a tight 60 seconds here left. Are there ways in which Be True was therapeutic for you?
Absolutely, 1,000%. I've been praying about what are the ways for me to, you know, express myself. And then when Audible came and offered this opportunity, it was the perfect opportunity. And so it was therapeutic, it was cathartic, and people already all over the world are listening to it, and they are experiencing the same catharsis that I experienced while doing it. So that let me know and gave me confirmation that it was the right approach. And I'm so grateful to be on the other side of it, because I feel much more liberated now than I did before I did it.
It started as a one-man show, an autobiographical, if I can say it, theatrical event. It is now an Audible original. It's called Be True, My Journey from Breakdown to Breakthrough, courtesy of the award-winning producer, best-selling author DeVon Franklin. We started this hour, in case you tuned in late, talking about a new movie coming out later this year called 'Tis So Sweet. I look forward to that later this year, starring Taraji P. Henson, directed by Tasha Smith, produced by DeVon Franklin. DeVon, thanks for the conversation, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, my friend.
Oh, thank you so much, Tavis. Always good speaking with you, and I really appreciate the opportunity.
The pleasure is all mine. Just like that, 3 hours gone. Back here tomorrow, Lord willing, to do it all over again. Until tomorrow, thanks for listening to Tavis Smiley, and as always, keep the faith.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Tammy Eswick with BIN News Now. We start in Texas, where the State Board of Education is crafting a wish list of historical topics that will guide future social studies classes. But at issue is that Democrats want young children to learn about slavery in the United States. Republicans say it's not necessary. Here's Republican Julie